The commencement of the final week of October as far as the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club are concerned. Actually, no, it's not even the final week of October. It's the third week of October. Where am I going? It is the fourth week of the term. It is 7 weeks from home. The commencement of a very exciting 4 weeks here on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club, ladies and gentlemen, because when we get to the main course a little bit later on tonight, it is sprint racing, and we do that consecutively for the next 4 weeks. Rounds 4, 5, 6, and 7 are turn 4 on the platforms of the GSRC Sprint Nights on Monday Night Motorsport. Good evening, everybody. Zach Cape and Adam Lavis with you. October 21, 2024, 3 o'clock server time as we welcome you into the virtual road Atlanta in Georgia. 1 kilometre an hour winds in a mostly southerly direction, although they are tending back to the east at the moment. 28 degrees the ambient, 36 on track, partly cloudy conditions, 28% humidity. And this is, of course, the entree to the main course, Spreyton Cider LMP2. Adam Lavis is here alongside me. What we lack in quantity, we make up for in quality tonight. Cars lining up on the grid now. Chris Noble leads the championship by 1 on Matt Distill. Then, of course, Brendan Grosh there in third place. I'm just having a look to see if he's gracing us with his presence tonight on the grid. No. Dave Oliver fourth, Nick Fodiatis, David Basdale, Jeffries, Adam Proctor, Daniel Yeaman and Troy Davidson making up the top 10. However, it is not Matt Distill nor Chris Noble at the front of the field tonight for LMP2. Have a look at that. Liam Reston, Sebastian Vandel, 1 and 2 on the grid. Matt Distill, Chris Noble, 3 and 4. Dylan Walker, Adam Proctor from row 3, row 4, Nick Fodiatis and Josh Zuno. Good to see him back on the grid. Dave Oliver, David Basdale, Jeffries, Troy Davidson, Shane Newans and Eduardo Zamora make up the field. So, yeah, we're at that awkward midway point of the month, the end of the third week of October, about to launch into the fourth. And I think the reason I was thinking about the last week of October is because that's exactly where we'll be this time next Monday night. But more to the point, the family and I were just talking about that first weekend of November. So it was very much on the forefront of my mind. Broadcasting to you from Cessnock again tonight, ladies and gentlemen, and great to be with you for Spreyton Cider LMP2 from one of our favourites on the calendar. It doesn't matter what category we bring to Road Atlanta, it always turns on great racing. Let's go to work. Half an hour ahead of us here from the home of Petit Le Mans. Beautiful start from Liam Reston. Leads the field cleanly to one. Matt is still already forcing the issue. 2 cars, 3 cars off. Uh-oh, that's a biggie. So Dave Oliver, Josh Zuno, all caught up in that. Somebody else came unstuck on the circuit. I missed who the third one was, kicking up dust and grass. But Zuno and Oliver resumed from the back of the field. Oliver still showing off the road. That could be a tow job for Dave Oliver first up. It's always a tricky opening part of the lap here. The high risk, high reward, no margin for error stakes are high. All that sort of stuff when you go racing at Road Atlanta, particularly that first sector, that seems to trigger the carnage. And it's no exception tonight. Liam Reston, Sebastian Vandel leading the way. Matt Distill won strategically smartly last week. And we ride on board with Nick Fodiatis now. To the left hand. Oh, no! That's Matt Distill, isn't it? Yes! The championship leader. Oh, boy. Shots fired early. Reston leads us at Road Atlanta. And Matt Distill has all the work to do from 8th on the circuit right now as we start lap 2. Geez, Chris Noble to 3rd, Dylan Walker to 4th, Adam Proctor, Nick Fodiatis, David Baz, more trouble. Shane Ewens finds the wall. Dave Oliver's limped back to pit lane on the tow road. Shane Ewens joins him. And now, oh no, that's trouble for David Baz and the championship leader. Massive implications there for Matt Distill. Baz is going no further. Disaster in the opening 2 laps. Distill's limping back to pit lane. Baz has got back going. But the implications on that one are huge.
That steering is far from straight.
Yes. Yes. That's got a 45-degree turn on it. What's going on there? My goodness. So Reston and Vandel have skipped clear Adam Lavis, and Chris Noble can just go about his business at a moderate tempo and consolidate 3rd here, and it'll be the championship lead.
Well, you do like saying highlight reel. Looks like we're going to have an early one tonight. We're going to have a fair bit to get through.
Exactly. Sebastian Vandel's improved to 1 minute 9.973, so if they continue at that pace, 1 minute 10 around about there, then we're on track for quite a few laps here. Oh geez, that was ugly on the run through. The car at the back there, I'm not sure who it was 3rd through, but it was just a grass clip on that occasion. Matt Distill, Dale Jeffries and David Baz have all linked it back to pit lane. And this will now be interesting to see whether Matty Distill can limp it home. Oh, jeez. Zuno really had nowhere to go. Oliver come across in front of him. This is what happened to Shane Ewens. Fast repairs for all those guys. They've got back out there. Oh, that's a heavy hit for Newens, and it just went on with it. From turn 1, he bounced across from the outside wall across to the inside at 2. And this one, Matt Distill, wrong place, wrong time. Because David Baz caught the curb, and it just made him an absolute passenger. Oh, boy. Bang. Can you believe that? Troy Davidson, the other one, caught up in that. So all those guys, Still, Baz and Dale Jeffries, they've all come to pit lane. They've all grabbed the fast repair and continued on. David Baz has somehow got back out there without too much of an invoice to pay. He is 10 seconds behind Matt Distill. Matt Distill, unfortunately, that mistake at the end of the first lap where we ran wide down at the end of the back straight here, just where Liam Reston's approaching now, that unfortunately set off the chain reaction. Distill would not have been wrong place, wrong time had it not been for that. He found himself behind David Baz as a result of an early mistake. So that's what happens when you end up in the pack early on. Doesn't matter how big the field is, the mid-pack seems to be the source of trouble. And it's happened again, if you can believe that. Wow. So Reston and Varndell have taken off, and we've got two real, irregular combatants going at it here. I mean, as far as this championship's concerned, we've had upwards of 34 competitors compete across the first 3 rounds. But it's none of our regulars that have been here each and every week that are leading the way right now. I think it's the first time this season we're seeing Sebastian Varndell. There's no Brendan Grosh. And Liam... Oh, no, there goes Nick Fodiatis off the road now in 6th place. Could lose out here on the run down the back straight. Will do to Josh Zuno. 2 of our own on the platforms of the GSRC. 2 of our broadcast crew. Just having a look down through the entry list here. Liam Reston also. Nice to see him back on the grid. It's been a while. So 2 cameo wildcard appearances and they lead the way. Good to see Joe Baldwin tuning in via Jody's YouTube account again. El Presidente on the way home from work, no doubt. Chris Noble 3rd, and that now sets him up nicely to take the championship lead and extend it and grow it and consolidate it for the moment over Matt Distill, who is a distant 10th. And the problem now for Matt Adam Lavis, and you might be able to elaborate on this for me, is that with what's left on the clock and how early he's pitted, I mean, that was 2 laps in. We're expecting 6 laps every 7 minutes, 20, I reckon 25, 26 laps if we're lucky, because it is a long pit lane transit here at Road Atlanta. So we could get to as many as 25 laps, as few as 25, as many as 26 if I'm doing the numbers correctly. 6 laps every 7 minutes. 7 fours are 28 and 6 fours are 24, and then give us a carryover lap plus a pit lane transit lap, maybe one more on top of that. So that's 25, 26 is the range. If you've got your Zaculator card out and you're playing bingo with us tonight, that's the one to keep an eye on. How far can Matty Distill stretch it, or is it too much of a stretch to try and fuel save at home? And in that instance, then that's essentially his night done. He's racing for a minor placing.
Yeah, I'd say it's more likely he has to splash dash because these cars aren't the greatest at saving fuel, given they don't really use much to start with. So, yeah, it's going to be tricky for him to stretch it from that far. But the benefit in his case is with it being a smaller field, currently he's battling for 10th, which is not great, but it's also not a massive bad step in the championship. It's a sort of a mishap, but it's not totally detrimental to the championship. He still gets a good chunk of points for 10th place.
Down the outside. That's good work from Nick Fodiatis to get back into 6th place. But already, the margins are huge. That's the closest battle on the racetrack. Dave Oliver's got back out there. We've still got all 14 cars running, but Newlands, Jeffries and Oliver are a lap down. There's a good battle forming between Jeffries and Oliver. Bailey Okoda Varnish separates them. And Zuno and Fodiatis. So the battle of the teammates there, 6th and 7th. But forget about everybody else. I was just in the midst of saying before Matty Distill made the mistake and then everything unravelled from there, that last week he used strategic smarts to his advantage, racecraft to his advantage, to execute a beautiful performance and take the race win. He's 2nd of the campaign at the Circuit de Barcelona Catalunya in Spain, one-upping both Brendan Grosh and also Chris Noble at their own game. Noble made a couple of mistakes that cost him in the end as well. Grosh was very impressive all the way through, albeit without luck at the end. And I was thinking that, considering that Reston and Varndell had the upper hand in qualifying, that it would have been a similar plan of attack tonight for Matty Distill and his race aspirations, but that's gone out the door. It's now just racing to salvage something. And I guess the one thing that does work in his advantage, in his favour here, Adam, is that this is round 4. There's 7 rounds to go. You get 2 drop rounds at your disposal in every championship. I don't know what his work schedule's like, whether he's going to be taken away from the grid at any point during the season like he was last term. But if this has to be a drop round, so be it, because the 3 rounds that he's put together so far have been first, third, and first. The only difference is Chris Noble's gone second, first, and second. So I stand corrected. I didn't read my paperwork correctly. Noble actually led the championship lead to this round by 1 point. But Matty Distill's consistency will serve him well despite this little setback.
Yeah, so it's not obviously not ideal, but it will most likely be a drop round. But it's one of those ones where if it's not a drop round, it's not going to hurt as much as if it was a DNF or like that's what got him last season. He had those 2 rounds where he had to actually be away, so he couldn't be on the sim, and he had that 1 round where he had an actual shocker in the race. So he basically had 3 drop rounds, but he only used 2. And that made the gap to Noble too far for him to go back at the end of the season, and Noble managed to keep the gap and take the championship. So he'll be looking to rectify that this season and try and get the number 1 plate for his car.
So Dylan Walker in 4th place now. They're just getting by some lap traffic. Here come the first of the legitimate pit stops. Josh Zuno came in at the end of lap 8. At the end of lap 9, it's Eduardo Zamora and Troy Davidson. Dave Oliver, Shane Ewan's back in now as well. Oh, dear. I think it might be a little bit more of an issue for those guys than what meets the eye, because Oliver was stationary for 28.92 seconds and Ewan's has still stationary after 41. Dale Jeffries' pit stop as well on lap 5, incidentally, was 45.63 seconds, so something doesn't add up there either, Adam Lavis. Because he was able to limp back to the lane under his own steam at the end of lap 2. Was there a pit lane penalty applied to him?
Dale,
is Ewan still stationary after 1 minute and 3?
Dale's looks like a penalty. Dave looks like maybe accidentally taking tyres. And Shane is more, looks like maybe a DNF. Just a pull over and he's out.
So it's all unravelling very quickly here in the curtain raiser to the main course tonight. As I said, this is the place to be on a Monday night for the next 4 weeks, ladies and gentlemen, because what we're offering up here in the main course at least, I know the entree's struggling a little bit in the field size capacity, but the main course between Circuit Gilles Villeneuve next week, Watkins Glen is in there, the Red Bull Ring's in there as well. But tonight, the Interlagos circuit in Brazil, sprint racing, if you don't mind. And the word is that it is damp at the Interlagos circuit in Brazil. Thank you. I'm reading between the lines of what Tommy Foster's just written there on the inside. On the Facebook feed. So I'm getting the impression that finally, at long last, we're going to see some precipitation play its part in the GT3 season. We are bringing you the AM split first tonight, the Pro-Am split second, the results from the Pro split throughout the evening. As is always the case, when we've got 3 splits, the best we can do is bring you 2 races live out of a possible 6. Because, Adam Lavis, if we were going to broadcast 6, we'd be here till 2 o'clock in the morning.
That's way too late.
Agreed. What we might need to do going forward is get the 7 Sport Mega Wall going. Have 3 broadcasters, 3 producers in here, the feed up on all our different races. That way we can check in and go around the grounds, literally. But it's not as effective as it would seem, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you that much. 14 and a half minutes gone here. Liam Reston continuing to lead the way. He's pulled clear, 4.2 seconds. In comes Adam Proctor. Chris Noble is third. But Noble can afford to finish there tonight after chalking up a win a couple of weeks ago at the circuit of Spa-Francorchamps. From here, of course, the championship goes to the Red Bull Ring next week, to Sebring the week after. I'm here for Sebring, don't worry about that. Nick Fodiatis will be using that as a drop round. Watkins Glen, the boot configuration, Circuit Gilles, Villeneuve, Suzuka, and Monza to finish us off. Of course, very opportunistic for us to be coming to Road Atlanta tonight. A lot of these guys have had a lot of laps around here throughout the course of the weekend just gone, with the virtual Petite Le Mans on the back of the real thing a week ago. Here's a replay. This is what happened to David Baz. Uh-oh. Oh, dear. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, dear. That's a shocker. Is that... who was that, actually? It was Shane Newlands. Yeah, righto. So that explains why Shane's out of business. He's parked up and done. David Baz has also opted out of business from this point forward as well. He's retired, so we're down to 12, ladies and gentlemen. That is a shocker. And poor old... Oh, geez. There's something to be said about maybe holding the brakes there, but poor old David Baz did not stand a chance. What the hell was that?
Yeah, that wasn't ideal. Definitely, either holding the brakes or turning the other way would have been the two options to get there. That's the one option that was the wrong option was the one, unfortunately, that poor old Shane Newlands has taken there. Either probably not deliberate, just that might have been the way the wheel was facing, and yeah, it's just not going well there for either party.
It's easy enough for us to sit back here and say that, but you, being the racer in the booth, we're going to tell everybody at home that there's more merit in it and more logical sense in the explanation of it coming from you, because you've been there in that situation. You know what it's like. You know the protocols. But also, of course, there's something to be said about how you respond in the heat of the moment. You know, those instincts as they kick in. It's easier said than done. Drop week. Yeah, exactly. I think a few people are burning their drop round this week. Grosh, of course, not on the grid tonight. Dale Jeffries, Dave Oliver both showing down a lap or two. David Baz out of business, Shane Newlands as well. We're past the 17-minute mark. 14 and a half laps gone for Liam Reston. We're riding with Adam Proctor. He's under pressure from Matt Distill. So Distill's going hard until such point that he might have to come to pit lane. But I guess the good news for him is, because he stayed on the lead lap, and now here he goes down on the inside to position number 6 on the inside of Adam Proctor to turn 1. Very nicely done. The furthest he's going to drop is 10th. And that's pending that Eduardo Zamora and Troy Davidson can overcome the deficit to him, which at the moment sits at a good 36 seconds once he comes down the pit lane.
Yeah, I think if Distill does need a pit, Zamora and Davidson are his race, because they've pitted. But they obviously weren't keeping up with the front pack, so they are a little bit off the pace compared to what the pace that Matt Distill can do. So that would be Matt's race, is if he can pull enough of a gap to be able to pit and then come back out still in front of those two.
So that would require that would mean, I should say, that the best he can hope for tonight is really 8th place. Not the end of the world, but not ideal as far as his championship is concerned. But as we say, end of week 7, those drop rounds come into play. Now that he's pointing it straight again, Adam Lavis, let's go for a lap with Matt Distill and watch him hard at work at Road Atlanta. Whilst there's not much going on out there, ladies and gentlemen, we may as well crank up the volume and enjoy a ride with Matty Distill and watch one of the best in the business as far as LMP2 is concerned on the platforms of the GSRC and how he goes about it. race leader at Road Atlanta at the moment is Nick Fodiatis. And that's because he's the only one yet to stop so far. We're at the 21-minute mark of round 4 of Spreyton Cider LMP2. Liam Reston's rejoined after stopping ahead of Sebastian Vandel, maintained that advantage, 7.1 seconds. Chris Noble was the first of the pit stops to happen whilst we were riding on board with Matt Distill. Dylan Walker has also transited the lane, so the field, with the exception of this man here, is cleansed to this point. Just getting some updates from the great man Adam Lavis with regards to where we're going tonight for GT3. It's going to be a very interesting affair there at the Interlagos circuit in Brazil. I hope you've packed your umbrella, your raincoat, your gumboots, and your hat, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be a fantastic night out. There is Nick Fodiatis coming to pit lane. The field is cleansed. What's not yet known is just how many pit stops are still to play out, because we are expecting Matt Distill will need to come in for another splash and dash. And at the moment, he has, about 12 seconds, 13 seconds on... actually, no, it's more than that. It's much more than that. He's got 42 seconds now on Eduardo Zamora and Troy Davidson. I'm just getting the bearings right with regards to the leaderboard. So whether that's enough time to get through the pit lane transit without losing any time remains to be seen. Down the main straight, Troy Davidson in 10th, Eduardo Zamora 9th.
I think...
And that's actually a battle for position right now.
I think Matt Distill might be ahead of these guys, because he's currently 40 seconds ahead of them, and the transit times have been 35 to 40 seconds, and then when you minus the time it takes to get down the straight anyway, so it should be less than that. So I think he's already jumped these guys, but we'll see when he does stop.
Oh, geez, dirt being kicked up on the run down to the end of the back section of the top half of the lap.
Distill's in now, so we'll
just
find
over
out.
4-kilometre circuit. Still on the lane now, so this is what we're keeping an eye on, folks. It's a long road home.
He's already out of his box. He's already on the go. Oh no, sorry. He's just in the box. He's just in the box.
Yep.
It's
not going to take long.
The timing.
It's not going to be there long.
Yeah, the live timing took me there with the way it stopped the clock. Yeah, now he's out of his box. 10-second stop.
Oh, he's well and truly ahead of them. I mean, yeah, he's back out on the racetrack, blisteringly clear. Holy smoke!
He's only 15 seconds behind Josh Izuno. So, although there's only 7 minutes to go, Josh doesn't want to make a mistake. Otherwise, he's going to have a hungry championship, potential championship contender on his butt.
Yeah. So no mistakes thus far from Reston, Vandel or Noble. It's been rather processional out there. We are looking at the clock. It is we're on lap 21, and I'm just going to keep an eye on where Liam Reston is when he completes lap 21, just to give you an indication with regards to what's ahead of us here.
He's right behind these two.
5.5 minutes to go. And I get the feeling that we're a distinct possibility of getting to that 26 marker. It's 5 laps from here if he... or maybe not. No. I tell you what, it's going to be bloody touch and go, because he's been lapping in the 1 minute 10s. 16 seconds through they come, up over the hill and down. I said it'd be either 25 or 26. I want to be able to rest on one of those numbers for you now as they come across the line. 4 minutes 50 on the clock. There he goes across the line. You know what? I reckon he is going to get 5. And it's going to be by the skin of his teeth. He had more than 4:40 on the clock. He's just clocked a 10.4. He had more than 4:40 on the clock. That's the threshold at 4 laps at a minute 10 a lap, 4 minutes 40. He had 4:45, 4:46 on the clock. I reckon we go to overtime and get to 26 laps by the skin of our teeth. So I hope everybody's fueled accordingly there, or otherwise we might see a little bit of coughing and spluttering on the run home to the checkered flag. We are live across Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. Nice to have you along for the ride, wherever you're tuning in all around Australia or indeed the world. Monday night motorsport, what a great weekend of sport we had. Action aplenty in the Australian Motorcycle Grand Prix, and now, of course, the action that followed, of course, in the Speed Series at Sydney Motorsport Park. Then this morning, the NASCAR in Vegas, a little bit of up and over, and Formula One as well from Kota. And good to see it back on full song with Formula One. Not everybody's favourite cup of tea. It's a tantalising fight on our hands in the remaining 5 rounds of the Formula One World Championship. Mexico, one of my favourite stops on the calendar, is next Monday morning, 7 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. That's actually suitable. I might be able to get up and watch that one. Here comes Liam Reston on lap traffic at the moment. He's following Eduardo Zamora, is he not?
He is, yeah. It was a bit odd there. He backed out early. He thought he'd get around, but he still went wide and on that dangerous part of the curb where it's really bouncy. So he sort of cost himself a bit of time here, but see if he can get a run in.
Liam Reston, race leader. Doesn't have to worry too much about whether he's going to lose time behind Zamora here or not. He's already got Sebastian Varndell covered with only 4 laps to go. Make it 3 laps to go as they come across the line. There's Matt Distill off the road, actually. Oh, no. It's all gone horribly wrong, and for the 3rd time tonight. And they say it happens in 3s for Matt Distill. This will be turn 1. Again, you can guarantee it. Like clockwork. Bowls it wide. Straight out over the ripple strip.
He just got a little, like, weird turn in there, and then, yeah, he's just trying to... he's just sort of half given up on that one. Now he's going to have a slowdown to serve as well, so... Oh, no, he's actually given up.
And he's on the tow rope. Wow, there's a sting in the tail. One of our championship contenders has conceded defeat. Can you believe that? Another sting in the tail here. We are down to what will be 11 finishes tonight. Oh, actually, that looks far worse than what we're anticipating. That looks like packet loss for mine. That actually looks like an internet dropout. The way in which we saw that car exiting stage left.
But that throws out our whole, this is not going to be too bad of a drop round situation. Now it is a drop round.
It is, yep. Definitely a drop round now, but at least it's a 0. At least we know the numbers. That we're contending with there, and Eduardo Zamora's had to come back to pit lane as well.
He clipped the wall on the entry too, so he's mistimed his fuel, and he's bumped the wall on the entry.
White flag next time by for Liam Reston, who's starting lap 25 now. 7.83 seconds to Varndell. Noble is another 1.3 back. So Noble's closing in on Varndell. I don't think he's going to get close enough. Fodiatis is still fending off Zuno, and that's about the only other battle on the racetrack. Dale Jeffries and Dave Oliver will be ruling the fact that they're a lap and 2 laps down respectively, because they're not going to catch Zamora. Actually, 2 and 3 laps down, 2 and 2.5 laps down, respectively. Oh, Zamora's back on the top. Oh, no. What's happened here? Are you kidding me?
I think he's just let this guy's coming. He's just letting them through.
Yeah, no, he's straight back to the box. He's done.
Oh.
Zamora's out as well. So we've certainly had more drama than we anticipated we would tonight. All triggered by carnage in the opening 2 laps. And there's the white flag in the air for Liam Reston. So Summit Sim Sport will find their way back to the top step of the podium as time expires now. This is the final lap. And Chris Noble's giving good chase on Sebastian Varndell, but I anticipate that he will fall short there as they make their way around. GT3 coming up very shortly, ladies and gentlemen. Not much to dissect here as far as LMP2 is concerned. But yes, just to refresh your memory and re-jog you, we will be bringing you first up, ladies and gentlemen, the action from the AM split tonight, and then straight into the Pro-Am split for the feature race. We will bring you the results only from the Pro Split this evening. Term 4, Week 4, Night 1 belongs in the entree slot, at least, in Spreyton Cider LMP2 to Liam Reston, a new race winner in Spreyton Cider LMP2, and he smashed them, crushed them at Road Atlanta. Second to Varndell, third to Noble, long gap back to Walker, who holds off Proctor. Fodiatis and Zuno, the only other battle on the racetrack at the moment. And the only two cars on the lead lap that haven't yet seen the checkered flag. Troy Davidson's come home, so too Dale Jeffries and Dave Oliver. We got to 26 in the end. Nick Fodiatis moves up one on where he started to 6th. Case of what might have been, he might have had a chance to go to 5th, considering that he bowled a wide earlier in proceedings. But 6th nonetheless, after a good push all the way from Josh Zuno, is still an improvement on where he started, and that's the way he plays the game. And he's joining us immediately off the top to have a chat to us in Central Commentary. Hello, mate. Nice to have you on board. Talk us through that and the moment coming onto the back straight, if you don't mind.
Well, look, I didn't realise how small the field was, relative terms, but the Bailey Ladders car had to really concentrate to get that up the field. Qualified reasonable. First lap, it was all big dinner plates for eyes looking forward, and I saw in the background, I believe Josh was in a 2 wide affair and nearly made it to the wall from what I hear. And then from that point on, I was just following the leaders or following the pack, and oh yeah, wow. Okay. Yep. And then from that point on, I was just following the leaders, trying to save a little bit of fuel, and I just happened to skateboard the curb on the entry off to the corner just before the back straight. So, own worst enemy on that one. But nevertheless, reasonable result.
Indeed it was, mate. Road Atlanta often throws up good racing, but it's usually compromised by the sheer nature of the margin for error and the potential to trip up in that opening half of the lap. And we saw that immediately off the top tonight. It doesn't matter what category you bring here. It's sector 1 and 2 that you really got to be careful in. Yes,
exactly. And or even just little things, as I've since found out, you can skateboard that curb on the way into the final turn, but usually the final turn there's people get that apex wrong and then they lose the drive down the straight. So it's a bit of everything here, and it's a technical track, and I like the technical tracks. And what happened here? Oh, right. Okay, yep.
Yeah, Matty Distill's moment at the end of the opening. Oh, geez. You were lucky to get through there.
Apparently I got an off track and I had to do a slowdown, so I had no idea what was going on. But yeah, it's just avoid cars in that bit.
Talk me through the challenges that you're facing with this car, mate, because I know you've been talking about it week in, week out in terms of just seat time and getting your head around it and working with it, are things that will eventually yield results. Again, as I mentioned, as you joined us in the booth, you've been able to move forward 1 spot, but no doubt you would have liked to have been able to move forward 2 or 3 if the chance was there.
Oh, look, first and foremost, oh, wow.
Yeah, that's what
First and foremost, yeah. The strength of the club, there's so many good drivers in here. It's we're climbing over the top of each other, a bit like iRobot. We're climbing over the top of each other just to get a 10th. So I dare say some of these guys will sell their mum just to get a 10th to go faster. But look, this car and this track combo I'm a lot more comfortable at. And I'm looking ahead here. Red Bull Ring is pretty straightforward. And then you won't see me the week after. So I drive on the...
Hang on. Let's just remind everybody why we're not going to see you the week after, Nick. Oh, there it is. Of course, Sebring, yes. I mentioned this earlier.
Oh, no, it's November 4th. I'm going to take it off anyway. Yeah. But yeah, I drive on the front axle. So as long as the front axle goes where I need it to go and then the rear's not too unstable. It can be unstable to a point, but if it's too unstable to the point where you're sliding and almost spinning, it's not good. But I need the front axle to do what I need it to do. Trying to find that balance on the brakes going into corners, but still carrying enough apex speed is my little trick. And yeah, trying not to lock up fronts, which, as I texted you during the week, I found that my throttle was hanging up last week. That's why I burnt the front left off all the left-hand turns at Barcelona, which I think 90% of the turns are left.
How complex an issue was that to fix just quietly?
Oh, look, I just had to buy a can of air and clean them all out. I probably should have got the vacuum cleaner in there too, but, you know, it just takes a little bit of debris just to get in between the magnets or the sensor kind of thing, and it doesn't give you full throttle, and then it hangs up. So anyway, it's done now. I've cleaned it out, and that was a better run.
Indeed it was. I'm just having a look down through the finishing order here. Your mate who's just joined us in central commentary here, Josh Zuno's just given us a little indication as to what he's going to bring to the table, if he's going to be a regular on the grid in LMP2 for a long while there. You two are the only battle on the racetrack.
Oh, good. I'm glad we got some airtime. I'm just looking at the fastest laps. There's no way I could do it. Could have done a 9.9 in that one. So, like I said, the quality of the drivers in here is top notch. And yeah, what did I do? 11.0. So yeah, there's no way I can do a 9.9. Still a second, 1.1 off the pace there. So yeah.
Yeah. I was just going to say, you and Sebring kind of reminds me of the old phrase when you throw in the towel. It's kind of like they come up to you, they offer you the towel, and you throw it back at them and say, no, save the towel. It's only going to go to waste. Because dead set, the white flag is thrown before you even get there.
It's not a white flag. It's not throwing in the towel. It's just I know what I like and I know what I dislike, and I dislike Sebring.
Where does Coda rank on that list, just quietly? Because I know
2.
You got me. Yeah. I was thinking about that this morning when I was seeing Vision from Formula One come in. That's all.
Oh, what a race that was!
Well, yeah. If you're not a Lewis Hamilton fan, it was a beautiful morning. However, in saying that, what are your thoughts on the rest of the week, mate? And what's going to keep you busy?
Let me go back a page. What do we got? So I'll definitely be in there for the California Speedway. Hopefully Joe puts on a night race for the trucks. It's always fun in the night, under lights. And then back again for the Radicals, which we are at Chicago Street Course. So that's going to be fun to commentate on. So I got the stiffest car possibly in the service on the bumpiest track in the service. So yeah, should be fun.
I'd like to say that I'll be thinking of you whilst I'm down in Sydney, but I won't be, because I'll be distracted by the beautiful multi-award-winning Amy Shark on Friday night. So I can't say I'll be tuning in because I'll be watching Sharky in action. Hey, you mentioned Jodie Baldwin. We probably should mention that there's a bit more YouTube content with you two at the forefront of it. That's just hit the World Wide Web this afternoon.
Oh, right. I was going to tell him to put it on tomorrow because there's no broadcast tomorrow. But yes, the second attempt.
It hasn't dropped yet. It's in the queue for tomorrow.
Okay.
There you go. Second attempt. We actually wrapped it up in less than an hour, so I'm pretty proud of that. And I'm hoping we can get it onto weekly. But even if we don't, we should have a guest or two in the next installment. So this is part 2.
Yep.
Hopefully we have a bit of a run with this one.
I was asked to be on that episode, and I approached Joe about it, trying to work it in around his schedule and my schedule. He said, no, we're going to bump you back to episode 3. So,
well, there you go.
Just because he wasn't able to record, I wasn't able to record, etc. and so forth at the same time. So it's a bit hard trying to line that up, especially with the fact that he's on lunch break at the moment, and I've just had dinner, given the time difference and discrepancy between the East and West. However, as I said, over the course of the weekend, it makes a lot more sense than the difference between me and directly north where you are.
Well, yeah, you have to deal with the cards that you get given, right? So,
yeah, exactly. Deal with the deals that you get given, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, in terms of the cards that get given, I'm going to spit them back in terms of Sebring. But up until then, I'll enjoy the LMP2s. I actually enjoy these cars. I just wish they had a bit more drag on them. You'll see here, I'm sitting behind Josh, and he goes, "You got to run on me, Nick." And I'm like, "No, I don't." These things just do not produce any drag. They're so slick, and the wings are so tiny that
maybe they need a push to pass button.
Yes.
I don't even think that'll help. They need a big barn door on the back.
Adam?
But the problem is because they're mostly underbody and not as much overbody downforce. Yeah, they're too aero efficient. So yeah, you gotta be like probably another car length closer, and you'll start to notice a bit of a draft. But even from that distance, it's like, what's going on? I'm not even catching him.
Hey, Nick, thank you for that. Did you have a run? Matty Distill's internet gave up, and that's just confirmed it. So a shocker of a night. I mean, that was the final nail in the coffin, and the coffin was...
We were watching that gap to him because we're like, oh, man, he's going to be fast. And we're watching the gap, and then he just disappeared.
Yeah, unfortunately, that was 3 strikes, you're out. The nail in the coffin, and the coffin was lowered into a pile of dirt and rubble and turd, not a grass patch that had been carefully curated. It was a shocker of a night for the championship contender. There's no doubt about that.
There's the updated championship. Oh, it's already updated.
Actually, there they are. 228 for Chris Noble.
Boom shakala!
Yes. 179 for Matty Distill, 146 for Mr. Fodiatis, 142 for the absent Brendan Grosh, 141 for Dave Oliver, 118 for Adam Proctor, Dale Jeffries, David Baz, Troy Davidson, and also Dylan Walker make up the top 10. Nick, well done, as always. Great to have you on board. Did you get a run in the Petit Le Mans SimWorld version over the weekend or not?
No, I had a lot of things on the weekend.
Fair enough. All right. Nice to catch up with you as always, mate. Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
You can hear more of the dulcet tones of Nick Fodiatis. He didn't even stick around to hear me give him a plug. Tomorrow when the podcast drops. And then, of course, on Friday night with his sidekick Joe Baldwin as they bring you Downforce Legends, the Radicals, the Chicago Street Circuit, and looking forward to that. Josh Duno, good evening to you. Not on the grid last week. We know why. Stuck in traffic all the way up the M1 after heading to not too far from the famed Three Sisters and the towns of Lithgow and Orange, or somewhere in between there. Back on the grid and in the top 10. But let me ask you this. Was 7th a lucky number for you tonight?
I think being on the grid was a lucky number for me, to be frank with you. After that start, so Monday nights aren't usually my jam. I have Tuesdays allocated and Thursdays in the Porsches if I get the chance. But just unfortunately got knocked out with the flu from said trip down south, and I didn't get to do the race on the weekend, so I was like, stuff it. I've done a little bit of prac. I may as well race tonight. And got a blessing from the minister.
Yes. The Minister of War and Finance, as one of my mates refers to his other half. And hello, Jacko, if he's tuning in. On the subject of that, you're lucky that you only brought the normal flu back. If it had been 3 years ago, you'd be in solitary confinement right now. But look at me getting political on a Monday night. You can tell it's election week, can't you, ladies and gentlemen? Don't cock it up this time, Queensland. Just do the right thing, as they say. Run the rights of the line of do the right thing and apply it to the people that told you to do the right thing 3-4 years ago. I think that's probably the best way to use their own words against them. Josh, your thoughts on this car? As you say, you were going to run the LMP2 in the Petit Le Mans over the weekend. Obviously, didn't get the chance to do that. But your thoughts on the circuit and also the car and what you made of that half hour and going to and fro with your teammate there.
Yeah, no, it was great having a little bit of a battle with Nick there. Unfortunately, there was a bit of damage mitigation from me. That I don't know if you guys caught it on cast, but I skated through by the skin of my teeth. I think yes. Mr. Oliver and myself may have had a little bit of a net code there, and I'm not too sure what happened. And then I copped a 4X from that, and then I also got another one when Shane rejoined. I think he went off, and then he was inside of me. He owes me a dinner actually, and then I copped another one from someone else hitting me after that. So it was really damage limitation, because I love this track, I love this car, but I also love eating off track. So it's it was fun.
talk to me about what's on the agenda for the rest of the week, because as you say, I love how you blokes talk about your incidences netcode until we actually get a replay of them and we see that you're actually right. Some of you will just say netcode will lead us on a bum steer, or race control for that matter, but I do like that we've been able to take that replay and show it to everybody at home. You did get lucky being able to skirt through this one here. Wow. All the garbage happened and you arrived on scene to just pillows of smoke. Now, talk me through the rest of your week, please, and what it looks like racing-wise and broadcast-wise.
Yeah, it'll be admin as per usual. Probably not so much racing. I'll definitely try and get in the booth with Dan on Thursday to provide coverage of the live action while we're spitting to the replays with you and Dan on the commentary. But yeah, that's about me, mate. We've got some little issues that we've got to sort through in the box. So in the admin side of things.
Stick around because I do need to have a chat to you about Thursday night once we go to intermission. Nick mentioned the competitiveness of the club, the calibre of the club at the moment, going from strength to strength, and it's reflected by the way in which we saw Chris Noble, who's been regular front runner in this series tonight. We know what happened to Matty Distill, but Chris Noble had a very lonely run there in third, well behind Sebastian Varndell and Liam Reston. So if they become regulars in this campaign, that could keep everybody on notice and on edge, and keep us invested and interested from a broadcast standpoint as well, because we know that there are three genuine regular contenders. I'm not sure where Brenda Grosh was tonight, but if those two start throwing their head into the ring, we could have some real spicy LMP2 action on a Monday night.
Yeah, definitely. Unfortunately, Brendan mentioned last minute that unfortunately he couldn't make it into the sim tonight. But yeah, Liam, I know they felt a little bit ripped off. Liam, Kobe and Jax were in the Summit Sen Sports car in top split on the weekend, and they couldn't quite hang on to first place. So I'm pretty sure Liam just wanted to come for some chocolates at that point.
All right, mate. Very nicely done. What's the plan of attack for GT3? Are you going to watch on from race control, the sideline?
Mate, I concocted all my energy that I could to get out of bed, and I'm going back to bed. I'll put it on the TV, but yeah, it was a push getting in the chair, mate, to be honest.
All right, very nicely done. Look after yourself. Health first, family second, or maybe vice versa. I'm not sure how you play it. Good to catch up as always. Well done on the result tonight, 7th. Hopefully see more of you going forward throughout the rest of the season. And as I say, we look forward to hearing all about what's going on at club level through you each and every week here on broadcast, as well as your efforts in race control and also out there on the racetrack go well.
Exactly.
Stay with me, though, because I need to have a quick chat to you as we take a break here on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club, ladies and gentlemen. We are only just getting started on a Monday night. It is night 1 of week 4 of term 4 for 2024, and it's all made possible thanks to Spreyton Cider, Waste Options, the great people at Orbic Australia. So too, the newest sponsor of the club, Bowen's, the builder's choice. Of course, you'll see their logo prevalent on the side of the great Whiskey Business racing vehicles in GT3 coming up in just a few moments' time. JJZ Constructions, that's, of course, Mr. Zuno. Merch.tgsrc.inc, M-Wave Australia, and John Simpson, who was tuning in earlier via Flash Graphics as well. So, the entree is done. The main course awaits. It is the first of 4 consecutive Monday nights in which the main course is 2-prong serving, ladies and gentlemen, because we're going sprint racing, and we're going to do it first up with the AM split, I should say, then move to the Pro-Am split. Results from Pro throughout the course of the evening as well. We'll keep you abreast all of that as best we can. But yes, the show time is upon us now to bring you the rip, tear, rush, bust nature of GT3 sprint racing for the next 4 Monday nights. It's an exciting point of the season, a critical point of the season for many. We take a break, and on the other side we go from North America to South America, to the Interlagos circuit in Brazil, to the AM split and the opening sprint race of Term 4 for GT3, with thanks to Waste Options. Monday Night Motorsport across the platforms of Facebook, Twitch and YouTube at the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. Monday Night Motorsport on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club, streaming live and free across Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube, wherever you're tuning in all around Australia or indeed the world. Terrific to have your company. Night 1 of week 4 of term 4 for 2024, and another one of our old traditional favourites is the launchpad of the sprint season for the Waste Options GT3 Championships. And I say plural because we've got 3 splits, and we're going to showcase all 3 of them for you throughout the course of the next 4 weeks. But for the next 3 specifically, it'll be an AM entree into a Pro-Am main course. Yep, the sprint, the opening heat will be the AM split, and then, of course, the feature race of Sprint Night, the slightly longer affair with the invert top 10 for good measure, will be the main course. Now, I'm Zach Caban. Adam Lavis is here alongside me. There are the track and weather conditions for you. 19 kilometre an hour, winds 50 degrees, so that's about a northeaster for you. 22 degrees the ambient, 30 on track, partly cloudy conditions, and 85% humidity there at 9:23 a.m., which is standard time because they don't observe daylight saving in Brazil. Our Queensland friends can relate to that. They'd probably get along well with the Brazilians. 4.22 kilometres this circuit, according to iRacing. My last measurement had it at 4.3, but anyway, what would I know? 14 kilometre an hour winds. This is, of course, home to the Brazilian Formula One Grand Prix in the famed city of Sao Paulo. Let's have a look at the championship standings as far as AM is concerned, and I can tell you that Warren Ibert leads the way at the moment, doing so very nicely. 136 plays 110 for Michael Buckman, is it? I'm just having a little bit of trouble reading that screen of yours, Adam, unfortunately. Martin Watkins is there. Walker is there in third. Tristan Koch, Grant Gill, Greg Colgan, Terry Marsh. Then we go back to Phil Butler, Peter Foster, Barry Punter, and Janash Ragwani, the top 10. I'll now that my Google Drive document has come back good and I can actually read that a little bit clearer, I can tell you, if you don't mind, ladies and gentlemen, that we have the top 10 covered by about 79 points at the moment. We have BMW, 1, 2, 3, 4 McLarens, Corvettes, a couple of Ferraris, a couple of Porsches in there for good measure as well. Grid looks like this for race 1 of the program. Sean McClure, the Ford Mustang, on pole position alongside the Lamborghini of Dean Reddit. The Ferrari of Aidan Schultz on the second row, ahead of a flotilla of McLarens. Grant Gill, the first of those. Martin Walker, Janash Ragwani in there in row number 3. Warren Ibert, Mitchell Buckman on row 4. Andrew Bailey and Robert Gay on row 5. Tristan Koch alongside Andrew Haynes on row 6. Philip Butler, Dale Atkins, and Shane Newlan's the top. The end of the field, the back of the field, the tail of the field, I should say, rows 7 and 8. Ford, Lambo, Ferrari, McLaren, BMW, Porsche, and Audi out there tonight, ladies and gentlemen. 4 different manufacturers in the top 4, 5 in the top 10, and of course, outside of that, there is the Porsche of Tristan Koch in 11th, and the Audi of Dale Atkins in 14th. So for the first time this season, we do get a taste of A, sprint racing in GT3, and B, the Interlagos circuit in Brazil, and the AM split.
And
first of 4 races that we're going to bring everybody from the AM split this season, Adam.
And there's about a 70% chance of rain in the second race for the AM Pro-Am guys, so could be some precipitation to worry about when we get to when we swap over service.
I like that. I'm all for wet weather. Thomas Foster said to pack the gum boots tonight, didn't he? He said it was a bit damp. So let's wait and see. Some of the morning running through practice qualifying was also a little bit damp, we're told. Now we wait and see a dry opening race for our AM competitors before most likely some wet weather racing a little bit later on in Pro-Am. Sean McClure bringing the field to green at a very moderate tempo here. It's a very slow start, but the field is at his mercy. He's got control of it. When he hits the gas and gets going, the field will go with him. Off, green, away. Green flag flies in Brazil. Race 102 underway for Waste Options GT3 AM. Sean McClure, a magnificent start. Aidan Schultz, Dean Reddit, Grant Gilles, the top 4. We've lost Andrew Hayes. Oh no. Can we just have a look at Andrew Hayes momentarily? Back of the field in the Ford Mustang. He started on the wet tyre. He's got tripped up by the changing conditions and he started on the wet tyre. That's going to be a very long 21 minutes for him. Aidan Schultz to the inside at turn 5. Got the job done to get by Sean McClure. Schultzy, the prancing horse, the Ferrari in front. Sean McClure second. Third is Dean Reddick. Grant Gilles is fourth. A lot of moving and shaking early on. Phil Butler up 2 spots. Aidan Schultz up 2 spots. Shane Ewan's up 3 spots. Robert Gay down 4. Andrew Hayes down 3 on the opening lap. So a lot of movement in the early stages here. Lap 1 of what is a 21-minute race around here. So you wouldn't be getting too much change from 14 laps, would you, Adam Lavis, or somewhere around there?
I wonder if Hazy knows he's on wet tyres or not. Like, maybe one of those things be like, what's going on? Why is everyone taking off?
Exactly. Round they come. First time. Martin Walker. Sean McClure and Aidan Schultz side by side arguing over the same piece of real estate. Whoa! Philip Butler's off the road. And Schultzy's being muscled out of it as well. Dean Reddit's going to lead them here in Brazil. Grant Gilles second. What on earth has happened to Aidan Schultz? And Dylan Walker as well. Sorry, Martin Walker, I should say. I'm getting my Martins and my Dylans mixed up. So Sean McClure and Aidan Schultz. Whoa, there we go. That's what happened. McClure meets the concrete. He's on pit lane. Schultz drops down to 12. Both cars caught up in that. Schultz not anywhere near as damaged as McClure. He's had to find his way to pit lane. And now Martin Walker dropping in and out. Packet loss, potential issues there for Martin Walker. Dean Reddit leads. That's true. That is very true.
I don't think the AM guys would be wanting to run with the pro guys.
No, true. That is also true. So it's a double-edged sword. He's factually correct in terms of grid density, and we certainly have the capacity to do it, but Adam Lavis is 100% spot on. The desire, there'd be a few AM competitors that would probably balk at that and lose a little bit of interest, I reckon. Sean McClure rejoins the circuit from pit lane and come back out in 14th place. Sean McClure, Martin Walker has parked up, is out of the race, he's done. As Dean Reddick continues to lead from Grant Gilles. So all of a sudden, the 2 race contenders have been taken out of it. Schultzy's moved his way back to 9th place after, I mean, obviously Schultzy put his hand up and owned that because you saw him back out of it, let McClure back past so he could redress the situation. Not aware of how much damage McClure had and that he had to go to pit lane. So therefore, Schultzy's probably double stung himself there from an invoice standpoint. Have we? Oh, okay. I'm just, we've lost vision and pictures there, ladies and gentlemen. So because I'm not going to have any timing to go off for the next short while, just until that refreshes, I may as well run you through and update you on the situation as far as the championships are concerned for Pro and Pro-Am whilst we're continuing off air here. Matty Dench, 215, leads Daniel Benefield, 183. Mark Gomez, 168, 159. Richard Mitchum, 122, I should say, for Nick Wood. Glenn Arnott is 118. Helps if I tilt the laptop monitor back a little bit, actually. My eyes are a little bit off today, I must say. Must be something to do with the fact that I've spent all weekend looking at monitors. 118 for Glenn Arnott. Clint Collard, 103, 101 for Shane Clancy, and Oscar Glissett on 100 points, if I slow down and speak properly, make up the top 9. A McLaren, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 at the moment. Connor Nixon, 10th on 95 points. So just the 2 manufacturers in the 10 there. A little bit of a different story in the Waste Options GT3 Pro-Am field, where we've got 3 different manufacturers in the top 10, McLaren, Porsche, and also Corvette. Gavin Simpson leads the way there, 175 plays Dave Oliver, 137, Brad Coates, 119, Paul Wood, 114, Ben Goring, 105. And then Tim Fuge, 96, Stephen Gallacher, 90, Reece Dickerson, 88, Bruce Barnes, 88, and Isaac Curtis on 87 points, making up the top 10. 6 McLarens, 3 Porsches, 1 Corvette in the top 10 there. The AM split, you just saw the points on the screen there, but it's important to note 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 McLarens, because there's a tie for 10th between Barry Punter and Janos Ragwani. 1 BMW, 2 Porsches, 2 Ferraris, and a Corvette in the top 10, be at 11 at the moment. So whilst we have this little passage, this little break in the passage of play here, we may as well just step away for a moment. We can tell you that as we lost pitches from the Interlagos circuit in Brazil, Dean Reddit was leading the way from Grant Gilles, Warren Ibert, and Janos Ragwani made up the top 4. It was Lambo leading McLaren, leading BMW. Remembering that Martin Walker's had packet loss issues and dropped out. Sean McClure's had to make an unscheduled pit stop. And good old Andrew Hayes was still persevering with the wet weather tyres on a bone dry circuit. Oh, I've managed to fill the gap. I can hear it in my earpiece, ladies and gentlemen. We've got pictures about to come back in from the Interlagos circuit in Brazil. Dean Reddit and Grant Gill still going at it hammer and tong. We've picked up Mitchell Buckner. And here is Grant Gill all over the back of Dean Reddit like a cheap suit. The gentlemanly racer that Grant is would have wanted to have a look at the inside, would have wanted to have a little Bo Peep down there, but not game enough to throw it down there just yet. It worked to build up the confidence and move on later on. Happy to tuck in and follow for the moment. Lap 5, so we're clocking at 1:35 a lap. So what's that going to equate to? 13, 14 laps, Adam? 13 in this opening race?
So target was 14, but that's based on the pro split time. So the AM split guys may or may not make it.
Yeah, it'll be touching. Well, actually, no. To be fair, they should get there. They should get there. 1:35 a lap, so that's 3 minutes 10. So times that by 7. Yes, you are going a minute and 10 overtime over that 21-minute marker. But by my numbers, they should get back to the line in regular time, somewhere in that 21st minute to start that 14th lap. If they maintain that pace, it will be touch and go. It's a 21-minute race by the clock. And flag comes out first time past the strike as the time expires. Unlike the racing over in WA over the weekend, and by the way, hello to all of our friends in WA as well. I hang a lot of crap on our friends up in Queensland for the time difference because it just doesn't make any sense. But it was very nice to be able to knock off work at lunchtime here on Saturday and jump straight into the morning session of the final weekend of school for the Western Australian Sporting Car Club race meeting categories for 2024 and link up with Zane and Vaughan over there at carco.com.au Raceway and call the action remotely. Some fabulous racing there throughout the course of the weekend. Getting back to WA and taking in some of the sights and sounds and catching up with everybody is on the to-do list for 2025, and I'm hoping to tie it in with State of Origin in that part of the world as well. Rugby League is taking State of Origin, then I'll be taking State of Origin back over to WA next year. We continue to watch Aidan Schultz there in 8th place at the moment. So he's on the comeback trail. Down 5 on where he started. Robert Gay, one of 3 Ferraris in the field tonight, currently sitting in 10th place, which is the invert pole. Phil Butler's just been passed by Sean McClure, who's on the comeback trail, and there is a 10-second penalty for, that's in the pro split. So you're just getting an insight there. Hello, Rain.
Hendo's on the tools.
Hendo's on the tools in the pro split, updating you on that. So there's been an incident between Toddy Hayne and Daniel Bannerfield, which we'll find out more about a little bit later on. Oh, there's Tristan Kosh. and Aiden Schultz side by side, and Schultz has got 7th. Rain's just started the conversation chatter for the next short while. Good on you, mate. No, truth be told, the racing over there from the Formula Ford to the HQ Holdens to the Formula Vs to the XLs yesterday and Saturday was top shelf. So I really enjoyed that, and it was nice to be able to commentate on some WA motorsport again. I've been privileged enough over the years to work on motor racing events in New South Wales, in Victoria, in Queensland, and now in WA. Got to tick the other states off yet, but they're not terribly high up on the to-do list at the moment because sim racing comms takes up enough of my free time as it is.
It's interesting with the amp split here. I'm pretty sure I've had at least 3, possibly 4 different drivers at the fastest lap so far, and we also missed a bit of the race there with the crash. So these guys definitely throwing punches lap time wise here and there. But them being the amps, with their weakness would be their consistency, which is probably a reason why you see one person up top of the field get a lap, then someone down the bottom, then someone in the middle. So that's what these guys are working on. They're trying to get hone their craft, find the speed, but also find a way to get that speed consistently.
Down the main straight. Reddit, Gilles, Ibert, 3 different manufacturers in the top 3. You've got Daly.
Ibert is reeling these 2 in too.
Yep, you've got Bailey under pressure from Buckman, and you've got Warren Ibert trying to close in on Grant Gill and Dean Reddit. Does Gill pull out of the draft and go for it? No, Reddit will hold on for now. Andrew Hayes remains on pit lane as well. He's parked up. Not sure if he's aware of the fact that he's on the wet roller rubber still, so we'll wait and see. Gill to the outside. Come on, Grant. Send it. No. Opts out of that one for the moment. Probably a wise choice, quite frankly. Don't need to encourage those sort of antics too early on in this caper. They're back in the 135s as well, so that will help us out with regards to time certainty. We should get the 14th lap in. Not too much of an issue. Remember that we're taking you to the Pro-Am split as soon as we're done here, folks. And bringing you their 37-minute race from the same venue, and we are expecting some rainfall there, so we are expecting that one to run 2 time, not 2 laps, because the laps are set based on dry times, as Adam Lavis just said from the Pro server. So Reddit, Gill, Ibert, Pragwani, Bailey, Buckman, Schultz, Kosh, Atkins, Gay, McClure, Newens, Butler, Hayes and Walker early retirements and out of the service. So this AM field drops to 13 for the next race, and here's Gil all over the back of Reddit like a cheap suit. So even though we've got the McLaren Cup unfolding in Pro at the moment, it's good to see some manufacturer diversity in the AM. Grant Gill obviously drawn back to the server, to the AM split for the flamethrower.
Gilles always been a fan of the McLaren, so now he's got a new toy to play with.
That's it. Three-way fight here at the moment for 5th position. 4-way fight, in fact, because Schultz and Kosh have joined Buckman and Bailey. Schultz trying to go around the outside, then tucks in. Oh, he's looped it! Schultz, he's looped it! Second incident of the night for Aiden Schultz. The Ferrari's done.
He bumped the back of the car in front and lost the rear there.
Too happy about it either, does Schultz. To be fair.
I think Gilles might have a go here.
Grant Gill to the inside. Is this for the lead and for the lead change on Reddit? Yes. Can he get it done? No.
Oh,
Reddit pulls back through on the inside.
Well, he's still there on their ass, but he did give too much room on turn 2 there, which is, yeah, it's compromised him.
And now it's welcomed Warren Ibert back into the fight as well. Schultz is parked up and done. And Gilles back down on the inside. Reddit's wide. That might be the moment. That's the only invitation Grant Gilles needs. He accepts it with open arms. New race leader, the McLaren's in front. Have we ever called Gilles to a race win on broadcast before? I'm sure we might have done at some point over the 5 years.
Probably in one of the up-and-comers races, especially when the Skip Barb was. He was rapid in the skippies.
He's a former broadcast producer of ours. He's a valued member of the club. He's done a brilliant job over many a year as both a co-commentator, a director, a sponsor through Oculair. Oh, God, I don't want to talk him up too soon, though, because Reddit wants a chance at redemption here. And, of course, the intro that you see each and every Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday night, that's the work of Grant Gilles. So he's a huge part of the furniture here on the platforms of the GSRC. Now he gets his chance to see the checkered flag first on a broadcast race, and it's been a while between drinks on that front. 4 laps to go.
How convenient is a Lambo? Gives us both angles.
Yes, we're looking out the back to Warren Ibert. We're looking out the front to Grant Gilles. Let's go.
We need more Lambos in the grid to make this easier to broadcast.
Correct. For everything. So, what's exciting here is, obviously, it's disappointing for Aidan Schultz. It's disappointing for Andrew Hayes and Martin Walker. Hayes has re-entered the server, it would seem. He's showing in pit lane at the moment. Now he's not again, so he's in and out. He's a bit indecisive on whether he wants to stay or go. And in a field of 15, all those boys would get another chance very shortly, but they've opted against it, it would seem. So we could be down to 12. And there's your picture-in-picture shot of there. Exactly right, Ben. Yeah, 100%. Grant Gilles, the race leader. Dean Reddit second. Warren Ibert third. Ragwani, Bailey, Buckman, the top 6. Then Kosh, Atkins, Gay, McClure. Take us back to 10th. McClure, despite that pit stop, has now got back to 9th. Gets by on Robert Gay. Dean Reddit has lost the lead again to Grant Gilles. Warren Ibert is third. And still in close tow. Gilles now forcing the issue, holding the inside line in defence. 3 laps to go at the line. Yes, we're going to get there. We're going to get there. 3 minutes 10 will get us back to the line with about 5 seconds to spare to scrape that last lap in. There's not much in it, but we should see enough time for the white flag to fly during regulation. But a lot of overtime attached to this one just to go full race distance. And we're watching Grant Gilles, Dean Reddit, Warren Ibert, Janice Ragwani, Mitchell Buckman, Tristan Kosh, and Andrew Bailey. Tantalisingly close battle for the lead here. And something we haven't seen very often this season. 3 different manufacturers with their hat in the ring, with a stake in how it plays out. Invested interest there, particularly with the Lambo, particularly with the BMW. We expect the McLaren to be good, and it has been. It's so good to see a little bit more manufacturer competitiveness, even though we've had to change servers and splits to do it. And provide that element of entertainment for you, ladies and gentlemen. Gilles was wide coming out of the left-hander. Reddit's going to sneak up on the inside and just hang it in there. Tuck the nose in, said to Grant, look, you're not going to be quick enough to get across to cover it off. The defence won't work for Gilles on this occasion. But the pace of the McLaren has got the Lambo covered for the moment, and here comes Warren Ibert up the inside. That gave Gilles enough opportunity to move across to cover off Reddit. Reddit might have given him a little bit of tap there going through on the inside to turn 1. But Gilles maintains the lead despite opening the door ever so slightly. Thomas Foster's copped a penalty in the pro split. Contact on Nick Wood. Can't wait to get the results of pro to you a little bit later on tonight, folks. Gilles, oh, geez. That was definite contact there. Gilles' defence work being put to the test here from Dean Reddit. White flag in the air this time by Grant Gilles on his way to a potential race win. Dean Reddit has something to say about that. Sean McClure has dropped it down the road, drops back to 10th. The Mustang will have a chance at redemption very shortly, potentially starting from the invert pole position, the place that he started race 1 from.
What Gilly be open for here is for Reddit to make a slight mistake in the second last corner to have him and Warren battle into turn 1, give him a break, but that's the hope. But whether it happens or not, Gilly's wide again. No, he's something himself.
Oh, he's too wide, surely.
He's got to drive though.
That's twice in as many laps he's been terribly wide through there. Did well to keep it off the ripple strip on the outside of the corner. Last lap, flag in the air. White flag is out. 1 lap to go from Interlagos. Grant Gilles on his way home. They got back to the line with 3 seconds left in the allotted time. Gilles opened the door. Reddit's down the inside. Not close enough. Gilles got across to cover it off on the exit of 2. Through 3 they go. Gilles going to lead them down the back straight. Let's go. McLaren v Lambo v BMW. Don't rule out Warren Ibert if it goes to the proverbial up front ahead of him. Down to the 5th corner. Big send around the outside from Reddit. Too big. He was wide. He was off the road. Potentially opening the door to Warren Ibert. No. Got back across. Tucked in behind Gilles. All to play for here with half a lap to go in Brazil. McLaren leads Lambo, leads Bimmer. Ocular leads Riot, leads Vortex. And there will be a riot if one of these 3 don't win this race. Something drastically has to go wrong from here. Whiskey Business, Janash Ragwani sits there in 4th. HTS through Mitchell Buckman's 5th. We've got 5 different teams in the 5. Shane Newens has joined the retirement list as well. So we're down to 11. Gilles again, a little bit unstable, coming through the left-hander, but he might have just done enough to hold on. It was a much better run out of there than the previous 2 occasions. McLaren leads Lambo to the line. It's going to be a drag race, and it's going to be one that Grant Gilles going to win. Ocular Drone Racing and McLaren on top in Waste Options GT3M. Race 1 goes to our good mate Gilles at the Interlagos circuit in Brazil. How about that? Reddit and Ibert 2nd and 3rd. Ragwani, Buckman, Koch, Bailey, Atkins and Gay, with McClure and Butler rounding out the field of finishers. McClure got back to 10th. He'll get the invert pole. But that is one of those classic last lap battles that we'll be talking about in GT3M for a long while yet. Gilles has got the job done. 0.3 of a second the margin. 0.8 of a second covered the top 5, and they will contend with grossly wet conditions for their second race in just a few moments' time. Gilles, Reddit, Ibert, Ragwani, Buckman, Koch, Bailey, Atkins, Gay, and McClure, the top 10. Only 11 finishers. Whether that means we've lost 4 competitors for the next race or not remains to be seen. Have a look at the pools of water there in Brazil. They're going to be aquaplaning all over the place. It'll be great to see some pictures come in from the second GT3M race very shortly, ladies and gentlemen. But we've got no time to stick around for it because we are going to a break. And on the other side of it, we quickly turn our attention to what should be equally as wet. Waste Options GT3 Pro-Am second race from the same venue. Night 1 of week 4, a turn 4 up and away on the platforms of the GSRC. And our mate Grant Gilles is a race winner in GT3M. Stick around. The continuation of a triple treat of motorsport for you. The platforms of the GSRC tonight, Monday Night Motorsport across Facebook, Twitch and YouTube, with thanks to Spreyton, Cider and Waste Options and all of the other great supporters that make it possible for us to do what we do here. We return to Interlagos for the third race of the program from the third different split from the second different series. It's going to be race 2 of round 4, race 5 of the campaign for GT3 Pro-Am with thanks to Waste Options. And there's about to be some onset rain hit this venue once the field comes through to complete this sprint race, which is just underway. We'll bring you the results from that in just a moment. Zach Cabe and Adam Lavis with you. 89% humidity at the circuit at the moment. We'll worry about the track and temperature conditions when we switch over. Let's get to... Yes, let's go. I've already run through the championship standings, so let's remind you of who did what in qualifying. Eduardo Zamora, Tim Fuge, 0.2 the margin there, 1:36.823 the benchmark time. Gavin Simpson, Stephen Gallacher, Adam Holland. Oh, geez, it is wet, horrendously wet. Gavin Simpson, Stephen Gallacher, Adam Holland, Isaac Curtis, Sean Rees, Sean Benici, Scott Wooden, and Kurt Chapman, the top 10 in that server in the qualifying session. Race 1 just completed. That's why we're a little bit late getting on air there. And it was Tim Fuge getting the job done there. He'll go back to 10th on the grid. He'll take Gavin Simpson back to the 5th row of the grid with him. Adam Holland, Stephen Gallacher, Sean Rees, Brad Coates, and then what was a phenomenal battle for 7th back through about 17th. Isaac Curtis, Scott Jordanson, Ben Lavender, Lachlan Shinkfield gets the invert. He finished there in 10th for Whiskey Business Racing. Jeez, there's more of them. Jonathan Agers, James Francone miss out. So too Greg Heaney, Brett Bradbury, Reese Dickerson. Paul Wood, John Baldwin, Tim Watson, Adam Proctor, and Sean Benici. We can tell you that the field is in the 30s tonight, ladies and gentlemen, which is good to see. There's the track and weather and server conditions. An update for you: 4.3 kilometres this circuit, 100% humidity and chance of rain, if you don't mind, because it is tipping down at the moment. At 4:17 in the afternoon, 25 kilometre an hour winds in a mostly easterly direction, but tending towards the southerly. So it'll be east to southeast wind, 20 degrees the ambient, 20 on track, cloudy conditions as you'd expect. 4:17 local time in the afternoon. The Grand Prix circuit here at the Interlagos circuit in Brazil. And I know I read them out to you, but just so that you can get a sense of where the championship sits at the moment, folks, there it is on screen for you. That was coming into this round. And it was Gavin Simpson with a fair chunk of an advantage over Dave Oliver, Brad Coates, Paul Wood, and Ben Goring, the top 5. We've already seen feedback coming in from all and sundry tuning in via the live stream tonight. Moist as, and I'll let you fill in the rest of that with regards to what we're contending with here for the second race tonight. Warm-up has finished, concluded. And I don't think there's too much of a turnaround time between the warm-up and the race. So therefore, it makes the choice pretty simple, doesn't it, for these guys to start on wets as they join the grid now for race 2 of round 4, I should say. Race 5 of the campaign of 14 in total for Waste Options GT3 Pro-Am. And, of course, remembering that we're going to bring you these first 3 weeks of the 4 consecutive nights in which we'll be showcasing sprint racing for you, rounds 4, 5, 6, and 7 on Monday Night Motorsport. We will lead with the AM. We'll go into the Pro-Am. The 7th week, we go from the AM split to the Pro split, and therefore we'll compensate you with a full-length 60-minute Pro-Am race in either week 8 or week 9. And then, of course, we'll take it to the checkered flag with the Pro Series finale over 90 minutes. Lachlan Shinkfield and Ben Lavender the front row here. Hosing down at the moment at the Interlagos circuit in Brazil. Scott Jordanson, Isaac Curtis, 2nd row. Brad Coates, Sean Rees, 3rd row. Stephen Gallacher, Adam Holland, 4th row. Gavin Simpson, Tim Fuge, 5th row. The 6th row is Jonathan Akers and James Francone. Greg Heaney, Brett Bradbury, 7th row. Reese Dickerson, Paul Wood, 8th row. John Baldwin, Tim Watson, 9th row. Adam Proctor and Sean Benici, 10th row. 11th row, Neil De Bruin and Brian Bullock. 12th row, Bobby Camo, Dave Oliver. 13th row, Russell Gander, Kurt Chapman. 14th row, Adam Hennessy, Eduardo Zamora. 15th row, Tim Pritchard, Kurt Nommensen. 16th row is Nick Cresswell and Joshua Robertson. We had Simon Mesimo, Scott Wooden, and Ernie Toth join the server, but I don't think they've taken the start.
They may have been in the wrong server and realised.
And it looks like, well, Sean Benici is going to start this one from pit lane. Eduardo Zamora is not showing on our screen at the moment. Josh Robertson, Scott Wooden, Simon Mesmo and Ernie Toth have not started. So Josh Robertson, the only addition to that from what we saw in race 1. So we're down to 31, maybe 30, because Eduardo Zamora looks as though he's stuck on the circuit in a packet loss situation right now. And we are set, fair and ready to go for 37 minutes around the Interlagos circuit in Brazil. I think you can forget about the 23 laps, folks. With it hosing down like this, it will be the time critical point of 37 minutes that we're watching for here. There could well be a slash and dash requirement, but if they can fuel save based on the fact that we are dealing with wet weather conditions, lap times are slower, etc., then that could spice things up as well. Not sure anyone's going to be brave enough in the Pro-Am split to try the zero stop, but we'll wait and see. Shinkfield and Lavender will bring the field to green. This is going to be dicey in the opening stages.
Good news, everyone on track is on wets, so no one's made a mistake.
Oh, thank Christ. That would be a detrimental mistake this early in the night, wouldn't it? This early in the piece. 37 minutes ahead of us here. The field is in the hands of Lachlan Shinkfield and Ben Lavender. They have control. Green flag flies. Let's go. 4 wide already. Oh, geez. That's Harry up the outside. Great coach, Sean Rees, side by side. We can barely see anything from the drone shot with thanks to waste options. And they fan out through the opening sequence of corners. Oh, trouble. Oh, they got away with it relatively well. Very good save. Because that could have been just dead set carnage had that ended up the way we thought it might. Good start, Lachlan Shinkfield. Good start, Ben Lavender. Good start, Scott Jordanson. 1, 2, 3 at the moment. The rest of the field sorting themselves out. And they'll be doing that for a while.
It's City Peak out at the moment.
Yeah, except moving a little bit more efficiently than what City Peak hour traffic does. the joys of being in the virtual world, Benny. Safety? What safety? What OHS? Not sure what you're talking about. Through we go. First lap through. Big send around the outside from John Baldwin in the Mustang. Trying to get by on Greg Heaney, who's having a look at James Francone. And Lachlan Shinkfield's off the road. He's dropped a second. Ben Lavender takes the lead. Opening opening stages of what will be 37 minutes here, folks. James Franco's just bowled it down the road and dropped down the order. We'll have the results from the Pro Split later, Veronica. We'll showcase the boys in Pro again in week 7 tonight. Interlagos next week, Circuit Gilles Villeneuve the week after, the Red Bull Ring. All Am into Pro Am, and then after that, as we see car number 30 pick up a 5-second penalty. In week 7 when we go to Watkins Glen, the second race. Waste Options GT3 Pro will be broadcast for you. Trying to
that's probably heavy in the hendo again.
Yeah, Adam Lavis, you can explain this one. We're just trying to share the love across the 3 splits, aren't we?
Yeah, it's just trying to make sure that everyone we obviously try to focus on the Pro Split because that's the big story. But everyone is, as Matt likes to put it, everyone is paying their membership fees. Everyone should get a bit of the glory and a bit of the experience of that we put on with the broadcast. So we try and do. Oh, look! Is that?
Oh, trouble!
Teeny, I think.
Save.
No, it wasn't any. But maybe it was Teeny.
Oh no, there it goes. Yep. Now it's on further back. Off track for Dave Oliver. He's been caught up in that. There are a couple of drivers pointing the wrong way, and that's Adam Holland.
He's downhill with traction control. That's going to be a bit of a struggle. He's got there.
Look at the puddle forming on the inside there on the ripple strip as well, and just off. Lavender Coach, Rees, Gallagher, Oh no, sliding through. That's Scott Jordanson. As these conditions change, evolve, and deteriorate or improve, then it's going to trip these guys up. Jordanson bites the grass. Lap times in the 1 minute 57s, so that changes everything with regards to your lap calculations, ladies and gentlemen. 148 that second time around, so conditions have improved. So, I mean, even if we're banking it on 1 minute 50, we're looking at 6 laps, 11 minutes,
big
18 and 33.
So Kurt's one of the, I think it was about 5 or 6, I think it was 4 or 5 guys from AM promoted up to the Pro-Am, and about, I think it was like half a dozen or 8 guys went from AM up to Pro-Am up to Pro, and about 3 or 4 went the other way from each split. So there's a bit of a mixture this week. Everyone's sort of settling in and finding the new groove.
Sussing each other out. Based on the lap time of Benny Lavender only, who's out to a 4-second lead, the race runs 2, potentially 3 laps shy of its originally scheduled 23-lap distance, remembering that those clocks and lap counters were set based on dry conditions, folks. So we do have a time certain situation upon us tonight. Oh, that's Sean Rees in third. A little bit of a slip and slide through there. Lavender doing a nice job. Round they come. It's Lavender coach Rees, Gallagher, Simpson, Shinkfield, Curtis, Akers. And down the inside, oh geez, Gavin Simpson under pressure. Trying to find a way through. We've got Gallagher trying to get by Rees, unable to do so. We've got Simpson all over the back of Gallagher. Shinkfield, Curtis in there as well. Akers, Heaney in the top 10, doing nicely. And then Adam Proctor in 10th. Uh-oh, Tommy Foster's parked up early. He shouldn't be commenting this early on proceedings. That's not very good for the Ferrari.
Big send by Gavin.
Huge send. Paid off. Simpson.
Oh, no, he got the puddle on the curb.
Oh, no. Gallagher gets him back on the outside at 2.
The downside there is he put himself on the dry line, and Gallagher had the wet line, so he got the grip around the outside and got his position back. That's what makes overtakes in the wet tricky, because you naturally think, oh, the inside line's good, then you realise, oh, there's no grip over here. Uh-oh.
I think we did a better blue Ferrari than what Ferrari F1 did. But he's biased, say Project 36. And let's go Brad Coates, says Greg Brooks. We're watching Benny Lavender lead by 4.9 over Coates, Rees, Brent Simpson, Shinkfield, Gallagher, Curtis, Akers, Heaney, and Proctor, the top 10. It's great to have you along wherever you're tuning in, all around Australia or indeed the world. Platforms and GSRC, a little bit of an apology at my end because I'm a little bit worse for wear tonight. I had the alarm set for 7:30. My niece came in no later than 7 o'clock and woke me up, and that was the end of that. And I don't normally do early starts on a Monday leading into a broadcast at 7:30 in the evening, so it's been a very long day, and I'm starting to feel the effects of the long weekend prior to that. So apologies if I've sounded a little bit dusty and rusty tonight. Coffee is my friend at the moment, folks. My pillow and bed will be my friend at about 10:45 tonight. Yeah, I was just looking at that as well, Tom, as we have a look here through. So there are McLarens represented out there, but a lot of them are down the back end of the field, 23rd through 31st. There's only one Porsche, but it's the rest of McLarens. You've got BMW, Ferrari, Ford also out there. You've got Corvette out there as well. No love for the Audi, no love for the Merc, no love for the Lambo in this server. But yes, that was all the carnage that unfolded for Tim Fuge on the opening lap. That's disappointing for him given how well the night started. This is Tim Pritchard bowling it straight into oncoming traffic. Porsche, McLaren, Corvette, Ferrari, Ford. Who else am I missing? BMW. Eduardo Zamora down in 20th.
Oh, that's it. That's how Lachlan lost the lead. There's a big river that runs across the road in that corner, and you got to take a really you got to take a real unique line through there when it's raining, because because you gotta try and cross the river. Because if you get caught in the river, it just makes you go dead straight. And once you get to that blue paint, you're in trouble.
So, oh geez, that was James Francone bowling it down the inside, and then loop-de-loop. On the exit, takes to the grass, and yeah, it's a slippery slide. It's slope from there. I just get the feeling that we're going to be on the wets for the duration of this. There's no signs of that track drying out in the time we got left. Paul Wood. Very rarely do you see Woodsy caught up in any garbage. Adam Holland. Oh no. Driven into as he was trying to recover his own mistake. Here's Adam Hennessy on the side of the replay.
He tried to take the dry line with the white paint, and just as soon as he touched the brakes, that's one of those deadly.
That's deadly.
Yeah, you gotta be very careful in the wet with any of those white lines.
So Stephen Gilles just
poor Neil.
Come on, Neil. So Neil de Bruyn's back on pit lane. Adam Hennessy's been there.
Oh, he done the same thing.
Eduardo Zamora, and now Stephen Gallacher and Nick Cresswell's come in as well. So they're all on the, 4 of them are on the tie rope, and Cresswell's just on his own accord. Eduardo Zamora mashes the Armco.
Another highlight reel for the night.
This ain't racing, says Tom Foster. This is a survival of the fittest. I have plenty of favourite words. 2 of them particularly not safe for broadcast. But yes, in terms of commentary parlance.
Shawnee Rees. He takes Gavin Simpson with him, so Brad there loses 2 spots in one spot.
Sorry, I just had to go silent at my end because I got the sneezes. Shawnee Rees.
Yeah, so
what about that?
Yeah, both these two just got the best of Brad Coates, dropping him from 2nd back to 4th in the course of a couple of kinks.
And Rees to 2nd. But the problem is the damage is already done. Look at that lead for Ben Lavender. 7.6 seconds. It's ridiculous. He's gone. Checked out, signed off.
It's one of those things. It's one of those things with wet weather. Oh, don't touch that white line, Shawnee. Jeez. It's one of those things with wet weather racing. Like, some people just have a knack for it, and other people just cannot get the feel. So it's like, some people say it separates people, but it separates them differently because it's just, some people just find that natural, able to find the grip and just naturally work themselves out, and the other guys, they're too busy just trying to maximise or find the speed and cross the line a bit too much. So it's a very fine art to try and maximise your speed in the wet, because you got to try and find where the grip is and then maximise it without going over the edge.
Oh, jeez. Sliding and slipping all over the place. This is Lachlan Shinkfeld from the invert pole to looping it, the right-hander. So Benny Lavender leads 8.1 seconds. Oh, Kurt Chapman
Greggy
on
Brooks.
replay around the wrong way.
And Greggy Brooks is going to have to pull Proctor aside because he's still got the old livery on there, the defunct one.
That's it. Lavender, Rees, Simpson, Coates, Proctor, Shinkfeld, Akers, Ben Heaney, Dickerson, Watson, Curtis, Chapman, Nominson. Oh no, car in the middle of the road. Car in the middle of the road. Is that Scott Jordanson? Paul Wood has got a crunched up front end again.
That's the same one. I think like Woodsy's got lucky. I think it's sort of like with the Radicals, where it's not really affecting him too much, because he did set the fastest lap not long ago, and that was after his incident.
Kurt Chapman comes to pit lane. Actually, that's worth keeping an eye on, just as we watch cars stream on by the start finish line. the likes of Cresswell and Pritchard are still on pit lane. Brian Bullock parked up and is out of the race. Eduardo Zamora is parked up and is out of the race. And Paul Wood was lucky not to get cleaned up there.
Reece Dickinson's had a big one.
Uh-oh. We'll get another look at that for you, folks. Kurt Chapman's just come to pit lane. Tim Watson's showing off the road right now. Dave Oliver came to pit lane at the end of lap 5, at the end of lap 6 for John Baldwin. Stephen Gallagher has got back out there despite a 3-minute 19 stop. Adam Hennessy, 3 minutes 25. And, he's got cleaned up. Bang. An out of control whiskey business entry, I think it was. Getting him on the inside. Was that Tim Watson? Was that how he ended up on the...
I'm assuming so.
Off the road. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it was Tim.
Yeah. He's now towed to pit lane as well.
He's done the same thing. He's gone over to the chevrons. He's got to those chevrons, and then all of a sudden, bang.
Yeah, and actually, no, he hasn't towed. He's managed to get it back on the track and is limping it back to pit lane. Neil De Bruin is back on the track after a 3-minute 24-second tow and stop. Hennessy 3:25. Gallagher 3:19. The only legitimate pit stops that have happened here for drivers that haven't had an incident. There's
nice save, Heaney.
That's a very good save. Are Dave Oliver, Brett Bradbury, Kurt Chapman for 22 seconds and 10 seconds for John Baldwin. Reece Dickinson, Nick Cresswell now on the tow rope on pit lane as well. Eduardo Zamora, Brian Bullock have parked up. So we started with 32. We're down to 30, but that number is dwindling as we speak. And into pit lane comes Greg Heaney right now as Adam Proctor sets the fastest lap of the race, 1 minute 47.571. So there's a lot going on out there in a very short period of time. 15 minutes and 20 seconds gone. Woodsy was slipping and sliding through turn 1 again. And Lavender leads Simpson by 6.6 seconds. Rees is 3rd. Coates is 4th. Proctor is 5th. Under pressure from Shinkfield. Akers, Curtis. So it would seem as though weather conditions are steady. They're not deteriorating or improving. They're just stagnant at this point in time. Yeah, Kurt Normanson up 21 spots. It's a good pickup, actually, from Revolution Racing. There's the weather on the left-hand side of the screen. Yeah,
that's the difference. That's the difference. The GT4 race you did on Thursday, where you had the lap times kept fluctuating. That's because it was scattery. It looked like the rain looked like a bowler. The radar looked like an Ebola field. This is a much more consistent pattern, and it's just sort of slightly getting heavier and lighter, which is why we're just seeing the time slowly coming down as they get to the grip of the track. So this is a much more consistent rain. So these guys will be able to get into a groove in this sort of weather.
Indeed, they could. What's going to be interesting for mine when you look at all of that is we've already seen pit stops. Sean Benici started from pit lane to avoid all the carnage and is up to 10th spot already. Lavender, Simpson, Rees, Coates, Proctor, the fastest lap of the race, under pressure from Shinkfield. Coates is trying to stay with Rees. We've got Porsche, Corvette, McLaren, Ford in the top 10, those 4 manufacturers. 2 Fords, 3 McLarens, 3 Porsches, 2 Corvettes. First of the Ferraris is 11th and James Frenco, and that's him coming through this display right now. And Paul Wood in behind him from Bobby Kamal and Tim Fuge. But Kurt Normanson up 21 spots is well worth talking about. The Project 36 boys, the Revolution E-Racing boys, I should say, mentioned that. And with good reason too, he's one of their troops. But up 21 spots. A tip of the hat to perseverance, a tip of the hat to going about it in your own way, minding your own business and just focusing on the task at hand and driving to the conditions. Kurt has been able to see off all the attrition around him and sits 9th at the moment. He's driving beautifully.
Oh,
I don't want to put the mocker on him, no. Oh, come on, Kurt, you got to be better than that. You can't crack under pressure like that, son. Fair dinkum. Now I'm guilty of the commentator's curse as well. That's not something I normally do. That's normally a Grant Gill trait. That's Brett Bradbury fighting. Well, it's either Imco on the inside or Concrete on the outside.
The rain's starting to get heavy and you can actually hear it in the background now. So, a little slide there. So yeah, the rain's starting to come back again. So the lap times will probably just start to fall back down a bit. as we get another little heavier shower come through.
That's it.
Yeah, that GT4 race last week, it was amazing how fast Phillip Island dried once the rain stopped, because it was being so patchy. Like, once it rained, it was diabolical. Then it would stop raining, and then literally like a lap later, you were doing your fastest lap of the race.
That's it. Lane comes Kurt Normanton now.
Oh, Mrs. Box.
Just seems to get caught up in the garbage. Yeah, that's a fair point. So make your way around. You'll look at Paul Wood. Applying the blowtorch, the pressure that James Frencone here. Down the inside comes Woodsy. Careful. Got him. Yes, I'm watching the stream and driving at the same time. That's a good point, Kurt. If he's doing that, that's fairly talented, I'll say that much.
So just to clarify, is the Revolution e-racing YouTube, is it actually Brooksy? Or is that one of the other team members?
That's a very good question, because we've seen Brooksy comment as well as Project 36 and Revolution e-racing tonight.
Brooksy wouldn't do Project 36. That's most likely Brendan Griffiths, I believe.
Yep. There's always someone looking after the socials, the admin of the page per se, but we just never know who it is.
He'd just see if Woodsy gets a bit more pace once he puts the front clip back on the front of the car.
That's it. Can't get the faster
Yeah,
there.
it is Brooksy.
Yep. That's it. So Proctor 147.571, Ben Lavender 11 laps gone. We're on lap 12. We're at the 21-minute mark. And we're closing in short on some pit stops here for the top end of town, including Bobby Cabot, straight on cue, down pit lane. Brooksy is a man of many profiles, that's true.
Wonder what Brooksy's opinion of Proctor's livery is.
I'm sure we're going to find out very shortly. Very tough night at the office again, Brett Bradbury. You're right, but it's the conditions, isn't it? We've seen it twice in recent weeks. I mean, GT4 the other night at the island was atrocious. Now Interlagos is dishing up Brazilians. It's Brazilian Rio best, isn't it? It's Sao Paulo best. I mean, we've seen how many wet races here over the years in Formula One where the weather's won the day, or forced red flags and stoppages and delays and whatever else. It's fantastic. Seeing it yet again here tonight on platforms of the GSRC.
To be fair though, this is the lead group. If you look at the track map, they haven't spread out too much. The guys are doing a real good job here of keeping it on track and being as consistent as possible. So these guys are having a great race.
Revolutionary racing, just getting back to your point about Adam Proctor as well, by the looks of that.
Apparently, Proctor's answering machine isn't getting through to him.
No, the lights are on, but no one's home. Ben Lavender, Sean Rees, Adam Proctor, Lachlan Shinkfield, Gavin Simpson, Jonathan Akers, Isaac Curtis, Sean Benici, Paul Wood and Brad Coates, the top 10. And a lot of these guys pushing the envelope here, the threshold, with regards to when they might come into pit lane for a stop. We're on lap 13 of 23. We know that we're not going to get to the 23 marker with regards to the time certainty due to the wet weather. I mean, 23 minutes, there's only 14 to go.
Akers at a moment, he's lost a spot.
Certainly not enough
Oh,
time.
Benici.
Maybe 8 laps from here. 10-point penalty for Daniel Benefield as well, unfortunately. We'll talk to our commentary colleague about that one shortly. This is what happened to Sean Benici. He was having such a good run until then.
Oh,
Big hit. He'll drop down to 12th as a result.
poor Nancy, that was a crash that never ended.
And that's why we saw him on the tow rope earlier. Now, he's still there. He's back on the tow rope, actually. So he's been in the pit lane for 3 minutes. That's the reason he's back there again. Look at this battle for second. Tied it up nicely, isn't it? Rees, Proctor and Shinkfield and Isaac Curtis has come up into 5th place now, ahead of Gavin Simpson and Jonathan Akers have taken the pit lane. Paul Woods in behind
Proctor's going for it.
And Curtis. And here comes
Adam
Adam Proctor to the inside. Backs out of it for the moment. Rees, Proctor, Shinkfield. 2, 3 and 4. Again,
he's back in order again.
Situation! The door was left open by Sean Rees. Adam Proctor. Opportunistic move to sneak up on the inside and go to second. And Shinkfield wants a piece of it as well. He goes to third. The floodgates have opened, and Sean Rees, before he could contain them and close the door, 2 positions lost. It's 3 different manufacturers in the top 3, 2 Porsches 4 and 5, 2 McLaren 6 and 7, a Ferrari and James Frencone 8. Hughes and Simpson make up the top 10. Brad Coates is the best place of those that have stopped already. We got 5 different manufacturers in the top 10, ladies and gentlemen. It's offering something for everybody tonight, this Waste Options GT3 Pro-Am feature from the Interlagos circuit in Brazil. Montreal, Canada next week. Lavard Elites, Proctor and Shinkfield. Again, 3 different manufacturers in the 3. Shades of Pro-Am, am, I should say, earlier in the evening. Lavard Elites, Proctor and Shinkfield. Shinkfield under pressure from Rees, trying to get back up to where he was a few moments ago. Lap 14 in the books. Lavard continues on, still not looking to pit lane. 11 and a quarter minutes on the clock.
And some good news for the Project 36 guys.
Yeah. They need it. Chapman, fastest lap of the race. 1:47.17. I think it's 6 laps from here if they stop, and it's 7 laps if they don't. They're my initial thoughts.
Well, Timmy's done the same thing again.
I think with a splash and dash, it's a 20 lapper. But without it, I think it's 21. They're the fine margins of the timings there, I think, ladies and gentlemen. Either way, we fall short of 23. We knew that was going to be.
I think Nick bumped either the flashy button or the pit limiter because his lights started flashing as he spun there.
No idea. Up the outside. Simpson under pressure here.
So Bradley
trying to find a way by Brad Coates, but wasn't able to do so. Sorry, trying to find a way by James Frencone, I should say.
Yeah, so Coates's the leader of the pitters. Frencone hasn't pitted yet, so he's sort of in this group. And if he is trying to save, he's battling with him. If not, he still needs to pit. But interesting enough, these guys that have pitted, they aren't too far behind a bunch of guys in front, so they haven't lost a lot of time in the pit lane. So very fast pit stops here. Oh, it's close. Oh, we got a little wet stuff. Slide him up.
A little bit of a reprieve there for James Frencone. A little bit of a buffer to breathe a little bit easier as he tries to withstand the pressure of Simpson, of Hughes. In close tow. Another lap in the books. We're on to lap 16 now. Inside the final 10, about to be 9 minutes of play. 6 laps every 11 minutes roughly here at the moment, folks. And it's a long pit lane here at the Interlagos circuit. It's not the entry, but the exit.
What's the thing is, it's a long total lane, but given how fast the entry and exits are, it actually isn't that much of a deficit in actual transit time. Because the speed limited section is quite small.
But that transit time could be the difference between making 21 laps and curtailing it at 20. It's on the throttle of Ben Lavender though.
Kurt, I think Kurt's the first one into the sixes.
Yeah.
I think he is. I think he's the only one in the sixes. Look at this.
Yeah. Chapman 146.62. Well and truly the only one in the 46s. For Lavender, the damage is done. He's taken off and bolted. Greg Heaney there all over the back of Kurt Nominson like a cheap suit. He's got Kurt Chapman with him. So right there you've got Ford, McLaren, Ferrari. Lavender has just started with 8 minutes to go. The 17th lap.
Hey, Kurt, you got to leave a car with there. That inside line there is deadly.
So that's the point. Maybe we do get to 21 regardless, Adam Lavis.
Possibly. Let's see if this is Rivers still here. There it is. He's,
yeah.
So there's still got that aquaplane there. Oh, Kurt's made a slip at the front.
Yeah, and Isaac Curtis has come to pit lane as well. So that tells me that we're keeping an eye on pit lane. The stop times are only 7 seconds. They're losing maybe half a minute in the transit of the lane. It's actually barely that. It'll be about maybe 20 seconds. So keep an eye on that, because that could make all the difference here. I just get the feeling that
Kurt!
The pace and Lavender is... Oh, no, Kurt, it's come undone. Drift work to turn one. Good save. Kept it off the wall. Well done, son. But unfortunately, he's lost contact with the boys ahead of him. Kurt Chapman and Greg Heaney. That is unfortunate for Kurt. He gets back going, but he's lost a huge chunk of time. Caught that white line. Not the first to be caught out by that tonight. It was a solid run up until that point. But now, having been promoted to Pro-Am in recent weeks, of course, it's 14th for Kurt Nominson and up 16 spots. We're still not sure whether we're going to see pit stops from Lavender, Proctor, Shinkfield, Rees and Wood. Also, James Francone. Everybody else, it would seem, has transited the lane.
Oh, a bit of a wobble there by Greg. He's managed to catch it.
And can he hold it? Yes, for the moment at least. In comes Lavender, the end of lap 17. It's 6 minutes from here. And this transit time, this stop time, this lane
He's got friends.
movement will determine. He's got all the friends in the world. Proctor, Shinkfield and Rees, but he's going to be out of pit lane just about before they hit their box. There we go. Gone. Done. See you later. So, and I'll tell you, yeah, actually, that just about confirms for me Benny Lavender where he is right now. 3 laps would have been 5.5 minutes, so he had more than 5.5 as he exited the pit lane. This does now go to 21 regardless, and it's because of the pace of Ben Lavender.
This is going to be a big battle for second place here. Look at them all. 6.5 for second place.
Excuse me, only because of the pace of Ben Lavender. Lavender has been a benchmark tonight. He leads by 13 seconds. That is the difference. A bit like Denchi a couple of weeks ago and Daniel Benefield at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. The pace of Benefield got the extra lap at the Brickyard. We're going to 21, so we're only going to lose 2 racing laps because of the wet weather. And that is on Ben Lavender's exploits and on his performance. No one else.
So Frank
would have got
Cohn,
us back to the line in regulation.
Frank Cohn's the only one who hasn't pitted yet, trying to stretch it out, but there's still at least 3 or 4 laps to go, so that's going to be very hard to get that if everyone else is pitted now.
So we do get 3 laps at the line because we're going to have more than 3 minutes 40 on the clock. 3:40 the threshold, of course, for the 1 minute 48, 1 minute 49 lap times that we're seeing here. And that is a little moment for Stephen Gallacher pulling up exit drivers. Oh, hang on, he's pulling up drivers right and serving a slowdown.
Yeah, must have had a slowdown or something.
Or is he's lap traffic, isn't he?
Maybe. Oh, Bobby.
Yeah, he is lap traffic. Oh, that's Bobby Camo. That's a shocker. He is lap traffic, so he would have just been giving way. And that's very well done as well.
Yeah, James pulling out, so he's
Yeah.
Realize that 3 minutes with no fuel isn't going to make it.
So Benny Lavender will get this to 21 laps. The race winning margin will be in excess of 10 seconds. He leads by 12 and a quarter, 12 and a half at the moment. And Coates is under pressure from Simpson and Shinkfield, then Proctor, then Rees. Oliver's under pressure from Curtis. Woods there as well in 9th. 10th is Chapman. You've now got 5 manufacturers in the top 10 as well. Ferrari, McLaren, Porsche, Corvette and Ford.
If only Kurt had a better race one. He's flying in the wet conditions.
Ferrari's loving it.
I think Gavin Simpson's the only other person who's clocked a 46.
The Ferrari is absolutely loving these conditions. Either that or Kurt is one or the other. Some off-track alerts lighting up on our screen. This is what happened to Sean Benici.
Gotta stay away from the paint.
He didn't learn. Bang. He didn't learn. And that's he'll persevere with it, but by gee, it's a case of what might have been. Neil de Bruin out wide.
That's Frank Cohn as well.
So Frank Cohn has come back out straight into the path of de Bruin. Just pushed out there, and de Bruin had nowhere to go.
Proctor.
Adam Proctor. Jeez, the Ford drops out of the top 5.
He's found that river and tripped him up, so he's lost the podium battle, but he's still in the top 10.
146.600 now for Chapman. Across the line, 2 to go. Maybe Coates would have dragged us to 21 by 2 seconds, but certainly not in the way that Ben Lavender is going to drag us to 21. Ben Lavender leads this by 12.5 seconds, and it's only building that margin. Similar to Phillip Island the other night, folks, there are pools of water all over the racetrack here in Brazil. The puddles are obvious. The aquaplaning has been evidence of that. And now, Jake Slade just saying in our chat thread as well, thank God that's over. That's a night to forget. So he's very happy to get to the end of Interlagos. And Dave Oliver, wow.
Silent Assassin, up 17 spots.
Holding off Isaac Curtis at the moment as we hit 1 minute to go. Oliver to the inside. Holding on to 7th for the moment. Curtis trying to go the long way round. Curtis is wide. He's okay. Oh, no, he's not. Jeez, that was hairy.
So this is for bonus points too. So because Dave Oliver's currently got the bonus point, but if he loses this position, it goes back to Kurt Nomerson.
Yep. Who's up 17 spots as well. Down in 13th, 16 gain for Chapman as well. So some good gains and losses here. Long rate of attrition tonight, but not as bad as we might have thought it would be. There we go. I've just lost the live timing feed here momentarily, but we've still got it on the screen, so we're good for the moment. There we go. It's just come back. Oh! Off goes John Baldwin. John's gone rallycross. We want to tell you about the rate of attrition. Pritchard, Cresswell, Bradbury, Zamora, and Bullock all out, so too Hennessy. Everybody else is going to finish. 25 cars home if they all get through this final lap, which Ben Lavender has started. He's quarter of the way through. Here's Oliver under pressure on the inside. He goes deep around the outside. Oh, drift work. Drift work from Oliver in the McLaren. Trying to keep Curtis at bay. Curtis will try and go around the outside. Have a look at 3 wide. Are you kidding me for second? Curtis to the outside. Muscled out by Simpson. The championship leader goes to second on the final lap. And here comes Lachlan Shinkfield up the outside as well. He goes by Coates on the final lap. Benny Lavender's going to win it. It's going to be 3 manufacturers in the top 3. Simpson's broken clear. Shinkfield's bowled it wide. Got it all crossed up out of shape. It's going to give Coates one more opportunity to have a crack and get by. They run through the final sector. Get your hands out. Take them out of your pocket. Get them up in the air. Smash them together, ladies and gentlemen. Benny Lavender's been brilliant tonight. Lavender's going to get the job done. by a commanding margin. Ben Lavender adds his name to the winners list. In Waste Options GT3 Pro-Am on a Monday night. Round 4, race 2 is his. From the Interlagos circuit in Brazil, night 1 of week 4 of term 4 on the platforms of the GSRC. Simpson with some last lap heroics to second. Shinkfield to third, Coates fourth. Well done to Lachlan Shinkfield, Whiskey Business on the podium. Fifth will go to Sean Rees, holding off Adam Proctor. Dave Oliver held off Isaac Curtis. Fairest in margins. Chapman finished with the fastest lap in ninth, up 17 spots. Oliver gets 17, Chapman 17, Nommensen 17, but it goes to Oliver as he finished 7th. And then 10th to Paul Wood, Greg Heaney, Tim Fuge, Kurt Nommensen, Jonathan Akers, and James Francone, the top 15. That's the way it's done. What about that from Benny Lavender? 2 laps shy of the scheduled distance. You can thank the rain for that, but it spiced things up perfectly. Well, the other 2 races might have been lacking in a bit of substance tonight, Adam Lavis, but we can't say that was.
Yeah, the only thing I couldn't get in obviously with that podium battle kicking off there, but just as before we cut away there, Kurt Chapman got past Woodsy to put himself also on 17 positions up, so he took over the Kurt's mantle of if Dave lost the position to steal the points, but Dave managed to hold on, keep that bonus point.
Adam, I don't mean to be rude and I don't mean to interrupt, but a fellow member of GSRC royalty has entered the house, and it's been far too long since I've said the words, "Good evening, Grant Gill."
Good evening, how are we? Have you got me?
Yes, mate, got you loud and clear. Very well, how are you?
Very well, thank you. I thought I should pop in. You did cover the AM split first, didn't you?
We certainly did, mate. We knew that there was a reason we were covering the AM split tonight, because you and you love the flamethrower, you love the McLaren, you got a new toy to play with, and you couldn't have gone any better. I dare say you'll be in touch with Aidan Schultz and Sean McClure to shout them whatever they drink, because once they took themselves out of the fight, it paved the way for a magnificent 3-horse race between your good self and your opposition, Dean Reddit and Warren Ibert, of course. But you managed to hold them off in race 1, mate. And in race 2, unfortunately, you've only come home in 8. But it looked as though the conditions you were dealt were diabolical at best.
Very much similar to what the guys just finished in there. So, yeah, it wasn't to my liking. And it seems going up through the horseshoe, there was 3 of us, 3 wide, and the guy in the middle wasn't aware I was on the inside. We couldn't see a thing, and so I think that was second lap or something like that. So Dean and Warren just resumed proper business and went away with it. And I just fumbled around at the back. My second wet race, the GT4s the other night. I've not enjoyed either of them.
No, I was only just about to ask you about that, because we noticed that you went MIA. You went very silent on Thursday night, Grant. We weren't sure how you felt about the atrocious conditions that GT4 were dished up at the Phillip Island Grand Prix circuit. We call it the gateway to hypothermia for a reason, ladies and gentlemen. And if there's any need for any evidence to be thrown in the direction of anyone that asks me why I'm not in the rig and stuck in the commentary box, it's because I am in a safer place when the heavens open to what everyone else was contending with tonight.
When they were first launching Rain, everyone was going, "Oh, this will be fantastic! This will be fantastic!" And I was thinking, I can't see what you're looking forward to. Really, it's not my cup of tea. And
well,
yeah.
Grant, I'm going to pick your brain for a few minutes here, and Paul Wood and Kurt Nommensen are standing by to have a chat to us. There are the results from the second race of Interlagos round 4 Pro-Am, which we've just brought you with thanks to Waste Options, ladies and gentlemen. Lavender, Simpson, Shinkfield, Coates, Rees, Proctor, Oliver, Curtis, Chapman and Wood, the top 10. 27 seconds covering first 3 tenths, but the winning margin 11.38 seconds. It was clinical from Benny Lavender. There's no doubt about that. Adam Lavis, in a moment, once we've gone through the pro results here, if you can take me back to that second race of the AM split, that'd be great. But in the meantime, he's qualifying for pro, which is no surprise. M Dench on top, in his safe place, in his rightfully deserved and owned top spot. And his pole margin was only 0.087 of a second. Lewis Greathead, Dennis Gaderick, there's a name we haven't said for a while. Oscar Gilles, Daniel Battlefield, John Merritt, Adam Hayne, Richard Mitchum, Dane Snudd in the top 10. Jeez, the big guns came out tonight in pro, didn't they? Have a look at that. 0.087, nothing in it between Dench and Hayne. Race 1. Dench holding on. 2.3 to the good on Greathead. Fastest lap of the race. Surprise, surprise. Oscar Glissett, Side Hayne, John Merritt, Dennis Gaderick, Richard Mitchum, Cam Culverwell, Dane Snowden, Shane Clancy. Remember, provisional, because we've seen a couple of results that will be impacted by that, or a couple of drivers that will be have their result altered by way of a couple of penalties being applied after the fact. Race 2, Richard Mitchum. Oh, well, right at home. The bloody Brits are at home in that sort of diabolical crap. 4.3 to the good. Richard Mitchum, this is his wheelhouse, Grant. We'll get back to your thoughts on the Tempest weather system in just a moment. Richard Mitchum, 4.3 to the good. Shane Clancy, John Merritt and Todd Hayne. Simon Mesimo, Lewis Greathead. Well picked up, Adam Lavis. Mesimo should have been in the pro split. Got there eventually. Lewis Greathead, Nick Wood. Then Mikey Hammond. Have a look at that. Oscar Glissett and Drew Hanstein, the top 10. 4.3 the winning margin, but look at the disparity, the sheer way in which the field was spread out. Only 13 cars home on the lead lap. Adam Burhop down there, Dennis Gaderick, Matty Dench down in 17th. Yet again, bitten on the backside by the sprint racing caper. We mentioned that he'd made a good start of the championship, but this is always where he finds his Achilles heel, unfortunately. How many did we have in the pro split full stop tonight, Adam, if we scroll down all the way? 34. Righto. Not bad. Not bad. Field size is very, very good. Can we just have another look at those M split results, mate, from their second race? I noticed that Dean Reddit and Warren Ibert were at the front of the field ahead of Grant there. Grant was down in 8th or 9th. And we'll have a look at them just for the benefit of everybody at home. It was only a field of 15 tonight, Grant, but by gee, there was some fireworks.
Oh, look, the GT3s around there, it's a little track that you throw a bit of water. Well, we didn't throw a bit of water, we threw a ton of water on there.
That's it.
And it really was like going down the highway in
like a flood
torrential
warning.
rain with the fog and everything else. Yeah, it was... I don't know how the boys up front did what they did. They were fantastic, so well done to them. And as always, the AM split, fantastic bunch of guys, a new bunch of guys. I don't.
Yes.
I think Andrew Hayes was the only one from the old days, and me. But yeah.
1.3 seconds to winning margin, but then they had 43 seconds back to Dale Atkins in third. Tristan Kosh, Sean McClure, Phil Butler, Janash Ragwani and your good self all on the lead lap, and Mitchell Buckman and Andrew Bailey a lap down respectively. We had 12 starters in the end, no Newlands, no Schultz, no Walker. They all packed their bat and ball up and went home early. Walker had a packet loss. Schultz got involved in an incident in race 1, so did Newlands, and Andrew Hayes persevered and went on with it again, but then retired 9 laps from home. Hey, Grant, firstly, yes. Well done on the intros you've been putting together this season, my friend, because, I mean, let's be perfectly honest, not just across this term, but also every other term of the calendar year. I mean, just when you don't think that we're capable of reinventing the wheel and raising the bar, along you come and prove us wrong. But secondly, so I guess I know there's not 100% favouritism to the arrival of the Tempest weather system, but you and I have spent enough nights in the booth in the past to know that it's been something that we've been talking about for the longest time. Yes. I guess the only thing that appeals that we find appealing from a driver and a commentary standpoint, a broadcast standpoint, is something different, because for the longest time you knew what you were going to be dealt up with. It was either going to be early morning, midday, late afternoon, sometimes night, but it was always going to be dry. There was no disparity, there was no change. So I guess from a variance standpoint, it's been a good addition. I know the way in which they've distributed it and put it out there for the world to enjoy has been very well received. And I know that there are some drivers that might slowly be warming to it with regards to just the way in which they're able to go about it and improve themselves as a driver. I guess it is the great equaliser at the best of times, wet weather, but the reward will be in the long run. A little bit of perseverance might actually result in you either enjoying it or just improving, full stop. And I think we're seeing that already. We've seen a few people that are very, hit and miss with it, but we're seeing a lot of people that are starting to find their feet with what is a very temperamental system.
Look, it's an incredible implementation. To think that technically what they're doing and how they're going about it is just mind-blowing for an old bloke like me who's been in computers and computer graphics for a very, very, very long time. But look, it rewards the guys who can do absolutely different lines. Your Max Verstappen type stuff. You got your pro and your pro-am and your am split, more so the am split, I think, who we've discussed this before, but are using 99% of their brain just to get around a dry track and without too many problems. But then you throw in something like this, and it's just mind-boggling how much we do need to learn. And these guys, they're certainly the pro split and the pro-ams look like they went about it pretty well. To be able to find that grippy line is just credit to them, because it literally was like being on ice, and around Magulo there leading into Zhangzhou, you just there was no way, and then you get to Zhangzhou and it would just skate, and you turn the wheel and nothing happens, and then you put your foot on the brake and the back would go around, and it was mind-blowing, but a lot to learn still.
And I guess the only other thing we should tick off here whilst we've got you, apart from asking you the obvious about what's next in terms of your racing exploits, because as I've said for a while, you're still an integral part of what we do. You're still a valued member of the club, but you've been incognito and MIA for a little bit, haven't you, Grant? So what's been keeping you busy? What have you been up to, and what's next?
Well, I got a little bit disgruntled with a number of incidents. I'm much like Kevin Henderson always seemed to be on the receiving end, and Adam Lavis gets his fair share of that short stick as well. But, I guess I was taking it a little bit too seriously and putting in a bit of practice, and then you get on the track and things don't go your way for one reason or another, and it just was time for me to take a break. So I hadn't started the sim apart from loading up the replays to get some footage for the openers since last December. So wasn't missing it either. So being a retiree now, I can fill my day with whatever I like. And the reason I haven't been broadcasting is that it just imposes on the early part of the evening too much for me. So just thought I'd take a sit back and just warm into it. So a bit of this, bit of the intro formula, GT4s, and maybe a little bit of the SR8s.
Come on, Grant. What do you mean the early part of the evening? You're in a progressive and civilised part of the world, are you not?
I am indeed. But
I just want to make sure I tick that one off your bingo card. That's all. I just wanted to get one.
No, that's all right. Strangely enough, even after nearly 35 years of marriage, I still like sitting down to dinner with my darling wife around about 7:30. So it knocks about the rest of the broadcasting and early games.
I say this with enough evidence to back it up. There are people in my generation that would envy that, because we are, as youth, we are just too quick to take a phrase that I threw out earlier in relation to Nick Fodiatis and Sebring. We're just too quick to throw the towel in. Yeah. And so we've had a gutful and walk away, whereas you guys and my mum and dad are the same. They still sit down and have dinner together most nights. That's the sort of partnership that we just don't see anywhere near enough of these days, so we somewhat envy that. So you're very lucky in that regard. So we'll see you on track on Thursday night, yeah?
Yeah, probably. Where are we? We're somewhere weird for
GT4,
GT4, aren't we?
Right.
It's is it one of the newer tracks? I don't even think I've got that one. Let me have a look. Round 4. Hockenheim, actually.
Hockenheim, yeah.
Hockenheim.
So it is
Yeah,
weird because it's got no international presence anymore. Because Formula One's not going to Germany these days, which is extraordinary considering the rich history and legacy of all things German in Formula One. But anyway, drivers and manufacturers alike. Hey, Grant, great to catch up with you, mate. Way too long between drinks, but very nice to have you back in the fold. Well done on the win in AM first up tonight. You're very lucky. We're broadcasting the AM split, the sprint race, for all of the sprint rounds this season, mate. So we're looking forward to seeing more of you in action in the flame car. What are your impressions, actually, for someone that's walked away and walked back in, and there's been so much change? This is the last one before I let you go, because I don't want to keep everybody else up all night. But for someone that's walked away and come back after the longest period of time, and at the end of the day, it doesn't feel like a long time because we know that the years are only going by quicker, but it is a long time in this caper, mate. Yeah. How long has it taken you to get your eye back in and wrap your head around everything that's changed? Because with the Tempest weather system, the new McLaren, I mean, we could go on. There's been quite a bit of change.
I've found the new McLaren really quite drivable, probably like 90% of the Pro Field from what I've seen.
No,
enjoying it. Yeah, I'm very much enjoying it. As I said, great bunch of guys in the split to race against, and this was a real shock for me because Adam will tell you from my times, I've been nowhere near these guys and just off you go, and just easing into it, and to have been up the front. I'll tell you a little secret. There's an app called Trophy.ai. It's an AI coach by Mr. What's his name? The not the son of the bloke with the big no, Formula One driver, Scott Mansell. And it tells you, it says try braking 5 meters later and 10% lighter and do this and do that. And I did a few laps around there and at Interlagos here and picked up a bit of time, it would seem. So I'll continue to give those boys a bit of a run.
All right, mate. Very nice to catch up with you. We don't do it anywhere near enough these days. You're welcome back in here anytime. You're a stalwart of the furniture around here. So we appreciate your input. And we were immensely entertained by the show you three blokes put on tonight in that opening GT3 AM race. And we're hoping for more of the same next week, which will be fun too, because we go to another personal favourite of mine, the circuit Gilles Villeneuve in Montreal, Canada.
That'll be interesting. Yeah, well, great chatting with you. Keep well. Enjoy the beautiful Central West. Is it the Central West?
No. I'm in the Hunter Valley at the moment, mate. I'm in God's country, up in Cessnock. Seeing the folks this week. So, as I was last week, as I am next week. Just north of the Central Coast. Yeah, exactly right. And a lovely part of the world, progressive and civilised. It was really nice, actually. Going out there last night at about 7 o'clock once I signed off work in WA and seeing that the sun was still up and I could still enjoy some daylight. So,
all right, we'll let you chat to the other boys.
Queensland.
I'll let you chat to the other boys. Thanks for the chat and the coverage, and to all the other guys who've picked up the broadcast as well. They're doing a fantastic job, I think. So well done to everyone. You've all done very well.
By the way, I hope that you go back and have a listen to the broadcast and just make sure you rattle. I know you still play the bingo game when you tune in, Grant. So I hope I'm doing it justice for you.
Oh, indeed, you're ever reliable in that regard. So I'm out. Good evening, and hello, Adam. Goodbye, Adam, and well done to everyone.
I was just going to quickly say, you get to watch a replay back where Zach actually gets to talk about you. You don't go off the track. So
exactly.
No jinx.
Yes.
There was a few moments I thought someone's bloody talking about me. I'm sure.
Well, when you're leading the race, Grant, we kind of have to, mate. Although you did bowl a couple of wides there coming out of the left-hander at the end of the second split there, so we were a little bit worried about you opening the door for Dean Reddit. But the pace of the McLaren and the way in which you were able to defend it was very impressive. I will say that, mate.
Good fun. Great fun. All right. Good night, fellas.
There he is. He's going to get out before we ask him another question. Thank you, Grant. Well done. Appreciate that, mate. Kurt Nobinson's here. Gavin Simpson, Greg Heaney, John Baldwin, Paul Wood, and Scott Jordanson as well. Let's have a chat. We'll have a chat to Greg Heaney in just a few moments' time to wrap up the Whiskey Business post-race show. John Baldwin is here, and it's nice to have him in the booth. First time in a while. Let's start with you, if you don't mind, John. There you are on screen. I do like the livery, mate. I'm going to start right there. Nice, bright, good yellow. More of that, please. What were your impressions of the Mustang on a night where you got to drive it in the dry, you got to drive it in the rain, you got to drive it on the bitumen, and there was a couple of moments where we saw you going airborne rallycross through the grass as well.
Yeah, no, I'd much rather it wet.
Talk us through it, because you started 17th for that feature race, you finished 15th, you went forward, all being fair and equal. I mean, there was a rate of attrition around you. There were, a lot of incidents, but a fair degree of caution taken with regards to this race. The pace at the front was impressive, but was 15th about as good as you were hoping for, or are you a little bit disappointed with that?
Probably a little disappointed because about lap 6 or something like that, I had to come together with some guys that basically split themselves apart coming out of the last turn, and when they rejoined, they basically collected me on the way through and meatballed me. So I had to limp back to the pits on lap 6, which was not when I wanted to pit. Fortunately, I didn't have to pit again, but that probably cost me 15 or 20 seconds crawling down the main straight.
Indeed. You talk about the difference between the dry and the wet. I mean, the Mustang, when it's not compromised, how is it? How does it perform in those diabolical conditions?
I found it pretty good. It was, but as I said, I like the wet, so I like sort of looking offline to find some grip and finding where I can find some time. So didn't feel like a handful in the wet. A couple of times you get caught out aquaplaning and stuff like that, hence the excursion across the grass with a couple of laps to go. But outside of that, no, it was drivable. It's just good fun to concentrate so hard and keep it on the island.
Indeed. Challenging night at the office. Talk us through qualifying and race 1 and how that made life a little bit difficult being in the mid-pack.
Yeah, wet setup for qualifying probably wasn't the way to go, hence the poor start. And I probably would have been mid-pack with the right setup, but yeah, that balls that up a bit, and then just picked my way through the first race and got up to 17th from 32nd, which was not a bad effort, but mostly through guys spearing off in front, and then yeah, was making progress in the second one, had a bit of bad luck, but then still crawled back to 15th, which is not a bad result considering where we were.
Indeed. The first of 4 weeks of sprint racing. Do you like this format where we've got the tension, the buzz, the hype, the drama, the substance of sprint racing back to back to back to back?
I guess the good thing about that is that if you have a diabolical race 1, you can always back up in race 2 and have another crack at it. The first couple of weeks have been diabolical for me. I had some real bad issues, bad luck and stuff, and going a lap down in the first 10 minutes or so, and then after that it's kind of pointless continuing on, really.
The only other question I want to ask you with regards to Interlagos is, by gee, you were lucky to get 15th, because Jimmy Francombe was giving you the hurry up on the run to the finish line. A bit of a photo finish situation there.
Well, I actually exited the last turn behind him, and I think he must have lit it up a bit under power, and I saw that I was gaining on him, so I just hugged that inside and hoped that he wasn't going to come across and sort of, force me to back off a little bit.
Two-part question to finish it off. Oh, actually, that's not often you can see a Mustang GT so beautifully controlled in a sliding, drifting situation, ladies and gentlemen. You just saw it on the screen there through John Baldwin. Last one before I'll let you go. What else is keeping you busy on the racing front as far as week 4 or term 4 is concerned? Number one. And number two, Montreal. Your initial thoughts on that as far as GT3 is concerned next Monday night?
Formula Lights, which is probably my favourite car in the service. Came back to the GT3s because Hazy Master Painter was coming back into the sim, and so we wanted to all sort of race together between me, him, and Bert Barker and Leachy. So it was back to the GT3 so we could all natter on Monday nights, and then next week. Well, it's tight. It's not many great opportunities for overtaking, so I'll just turn up and try and have a bit of fun.
All right, very nicely done. And I guess trying to stay out of trouble is going to be part of the fun at the circuit. Gilles Villeneuve in Montreal, trying to capitalise on other people's mistakes might be the best plan of attack in terms of pushing your way forward. As you say, not the easiest for overtaking, but still one of the great racetracks in world motorsport. Thanks, John, mate. Appreciate it. Well done. As far as I'm concerned, from what I've seen tonight, you've got the best livery of the bunch. But I am I'm probably going to be overruled by Greg Heaney because he knows that I'm a fan of the yellow and the whiskey business cars. But that is an impressive bit of kit you got there. You got the Cessnock Goanna colours going on with a little bit of white in there for good measure. So given that I'm in Cessnock at the moment, it's close to the heart. Well done.
No worries, mate. Thanks for that. Andrew Hayes, he's the superstar playing the job, man.
Very nice. Oh, gee. Right on cue. We're seeing some more of your drift work on screen there. Geez, they were challenging conditions out there tonight for all and sundry, including Paul Wood. As we go from John down to Paul, and we'll work our way back up to Kurt and Gavin in just a moment. And great that all the Pro-Am guys have dropped in to say g'day to us. Adam Lavis crunching the points whilst we do this, and we'll hopefully bring an update there before the end of the broadcast. I'm looking at the clock and thinking that home and away might be a tomorrow morning job, considering that I'm in progressive civilization this week, and as far away as I need to be from the Queensland state election and all the dribble that's going to be associated with that. Paul Wood, Adam Lavis is replaying the incident for us here on screen early on. You got caught up in a little bit of drama, mate, and spent the first half of the race minus the front end. How compromised was the car, if at all, after the early contretemps and shenanigans there, please?
Look, with the quality of my drive, and honestly, I didn't really tell it was missing. I was sort of struggling from the beginning, so it's news to me. I'm probably glad that I didn't know it was missing, because then I'd have been going, oh no, I've lost traction. But it was greasy out there, so I don't think it made all that much of a difference, and I wasn't really getting fast enough for aero to really be working, so that probably worked in my favour. But that was a workout, that race. Very, very big workout.
Indeed it was. It was very nicely done, though, the way in which you were able to work your way through. In the end, you finished in the top 10, mate. 16th on the grid for that second race. So just to catch us up, because we were watching AM earlier, and our good mate Grant Gill, talk us through qualifying and the challenges of race 1.
Qualifying, it was dry and I went out on wet setup, so just no pace whatsoever. So I just went out, set some laps, because I had a pretty strong feeling it was going to be a wet race. I thought it was actually going to be wet for both, but then when it was dry for race 1, I made a couple of quick tweaks to the car, which wasn't too bad. It wasn't ideal, but overall I think it was pretty good, and I was just slowly working my way back up through the field. But I got caught up with a car that had spun, and there was a car to my left, a car to my right. I was in the middle, I had nowhere to go, so I just had to hit the anchors and just watch everybody drive on by. So all the ground I made up early, I lost again, but managed to work my way back up to I think 16th where I started. And from there in the wet, I didn't worry too much about pace. I just tried to keep the car straight, keep it pointing in the right direction, well, as straight as I could, considering there's no front bumper. But all in all, tough race. It was very wet out there. If we didn't have another wet race for the season, I'd be more than happy. Over the last week and a half of the ones I've had, I'm over the wet race. Everything I race seems to be monsoon, but
particularly GT4 last week, that was atrocious.
Oh yes, it's just I personally myself, I don't class that as raining. That's just more just surviving and keeping the car on track. But I don't mind a wet race, but just a little bit drier than that would be nice, so you can actually just still have a bit of racing and not worry about taking everyone else out if you make one little error. But Now, what do? You got to deal with the conditions you got, and you try to push forward, and that's what I did. And considering how unconfident I was feeling going into it, I'm happy with the results. It was a better outcome than I was expecting.
Considering it's just gone 10:30 on the eastern seaboard, 7:30 on the western seaboard, I can safely say this: there's been no in between with the ever-changing weather conditions in the last couple of weeks, ladies and gentlemen. It's either been hosing or pissing down when it's been raining. It's not been a drizzle, or it's not been a indecisive guessing game with regards to what tyres you're going to run. It has been the heavens have been opened and the toilets have been emptied and they've been tipped on all and sundry. It's like emptying the local swimming pool. That's the amount of water we've been contending with in the last couple of weeks. Quite extraordinary stuff. But I know your thoughts on the rain, Woodsy. I'm interested in your thoughts on what's next. I know we're going to be busy on Thursday night with GT4. Any racing before that, and then obviously we turn our attention to Montreal next Monday night for GT3 and more sprint racing, mate.
Only next up for me is GT4. GT4 and then Porsche again and Radicals. So enjoying the Radicals. Last week's track was a handful, but it's been a fun race. But yeah, next week Montreal with this car. Montreal, it's a good little track for racing. It doesn't agree with me. I always struggle to find pace there. But again, I'm enjoying the McLaren so far. So we'll see if I can put it all together and try and get a reasonable result, because so far my season has not gone to plan in most of my leagues. But yeah, a dry race there I think would be a much safer one than the wet one, because there's a lot of very close walls and a lot of very tight corners there. So yeah, well, let's see what the gods have in store for us and see if we can have another good race.
Indeed. And just on that second race, mate, I mean, the way in which you were able to nurse the car through the first stint, get to the pit stop, and then bring it home and take advantage of a few mistakes around you, a top 10's a good result in those conditions. You were the fourth McLaren home, and you were well clear of the chasing pack, including another guest in the booth here, Greg Heaney.
Yeah, I think had I not made the couple of little mistakes that I had, I feel I could have been a little bit higher. I was feeling reasonably confident there until Kurt came up on the back of me there, and then I thought I was standing still because he just drove around me like there was no tomorrow. I'm thinking, okay, he must have some special tyres on or something. But he did a really good job. He's got some skill in the wet, so yeah, if he wants to pass on a bit of that talent, I'll be more than happy to take some. But yeah, it's I need to learn how to do some setups for wet, because I just have no idea. Like, I struggle in the dry, but yeah, wet, I don't know what to do to help to the car. So I just try to keep a steady pace, keep it straight, point in the right direction, and see where I end up.
All right, mate, very nicely done. Hey, thanks as always for dropping on by to have a crack and have a chat with us as well after the fact. Congratulations on the top 10 in the second race. Look forward to seeing what you bring to the table at the circuit Gilles Villeneuve next Monday night, and all the best for the rest of this week.
No worries. Thanks, guys.
Adam Lavis, it's interesting, isn't it? It seems to be an ongoing part of the narrative tonight, just going off Woodsy's comments. Not the only one to say we got caught out by the change of weather. We've gone out and tried to qualify on a wet setup. It's those little 1%ers. You've got to pay so much attention to detail on a night like this where the weather is being temperamental.
You got to react quickly, because we don't have the park firme rules like Formula 1. So
No.
you can if it's dry quality, you can chuck that dry setup back on there and get out to get those laps. And then if it does pour down raining again for race 1, put the wet weather setup back on and off you go.
Very nicely done. Thank you, mate. We'll have some championship points for everybody at home very shortly. In the meantime, Kurt Normanson, thanks for sticking around. I apologise. We put the mocker on you. We put you on the camera, and then you're doing some drift work through turn 1. But in saying that, nice save and a good recovery drive. Up 17 spots from 30th on the grid to 13th. And it just goes to show that staying out of trouble pays dividends in weather like that. Well done.
Yeah, thank you. It was definitely not where I wanted to start. I felt like I definitely could have been a bit further up, but that's where I started and just kept pushing. Was a bit quicker than some of the guys around me, and then just sort of kept to myself for the most part.
All right, mate, fill in the gap for me. For you to start 30th for race 2, what the bloody hell's happened in qualifying and then in race 1?
Qualifying was fine. I loaded up the dry setup, qualified 14th, I think. had a good start to the race, and then lap 5, turn 3, I got punted off the track into the fence, so had to tow back to pits, and yeah,
That's all she
back of the
wrote.
grid.
That's all she wrote. Unlucky. The Mustang, I was asking John Baldwin, I'm going to ask you the same question. You've driven it in the dry, you've driven it in the rain. Do you have a preference?
I'd prefer the dry, but yeah, no, it definitely feels really nice in the wet, actually. It brakes really, really well. I could brake a lot later than some of the McLarens and stuff around me because there's just the weight over the front, and I can load up the front of the car and dive into the corners a little bit better.
Very nicely done. Just having a look at the finishing result there. Yes, you lost a couple of spots there. I think Greg Heaney, Tim Fuge, Paul Wood were all able to capitalise on one of your mistakes. But, I mean, to bring it home with breathing space back to everybody else, Akers, Baldwin, Frank Cone included, were you happy with the pace that you were putting out there tonight with that Mustang and the way in which you're slowly but surely, A, improving as a driver, but B, getting accustomised and acclimatised to these wet weather races when we have them?
Yeah, I was pretty happy with it. I definitely think I could have been faster. I didn't get enough time to practice in the wet this week. Just been a bit busy, so I was pretty happy to be running around barely off the pace and giving the guys in the McLaren a bit of a hard go at the moment now that I've joined Pro-Am in the McLaren Cup.
Well, yes, exactly. Are you enjoying the promotion, by the way?
Well, I mean, it's better racing, but I was pretty happy running for my championship in AM2, so a bit of mixed feelings about it.
Yes, very nicely done. Thoughts on everything else that's coming up this week, and obviously the next round for GT3 at the circuit Gilles Villeneuve next Monday night. Can you believe we're in week 4 already?
Yeah, it's going quick, but no, I'm going to be running the supercars, GT4s, and then having a bit of a break, focusing more on next week, just trying to not overdo myself at the moment, still recovering from being sick.
I was going to say, that's no good at all. Did you have a crack in Petit Le Mans over the weekend or not?
We did. I ran with a couple of the boys from Revolution. We were running P2 until I got meatballed by a LMP2 in the last 30 minutes of the race.
Oh dear. Oh god. Gotta hate that. All that work, 10 hours of it, and it amounts to, unlucky. That being said, only gives you ammunition and incentive to go back and have another crack in 12 months' time. Good luck for the rest of this week, mate. I hope it goes well. Circuit Gilles Villeneuve next Monday night should be a lot of fun, but I'm sure we'll chat to you on Thursday before that. If not, it will be next Monday. And, of course, the middle of the sprint racing season. Do you like this chop and change, one dry, one wet, or would you like a full wet night or a full dry night? What's your preference there with regards to that? I know that the weather favoured you tonight in terms of being able to push through the field, but each to their own with regards to whether you like the wet or the dry.
I'm pretty impartial. I don't mind if it changes. I don't mind if it stays the same. It did a bit of a change on us last season at Brands Hatch, so just got to roll with the punches, and I'm pretty happy either way.
All right, mate. Very nicely done. Good to catch up with you. Enjoy the rest of your week.
Thank you. Gavin
Simpson, to you. What about the finish? What about the closing stages for you? I mean, the championship lead was yours coming into the round if I'd done my homework right. And to be honest, homework hasn't been my strong point for a long while, let alone this weekend, because there's been a lot happening in my world. But the Corvette, in servers that have been dominated by McLarens in recent weeks, the Corvette's holding its own. You're holding your own. You held sway coming into this round, and you've backed it up, essentially. You've continued that good form. 2 second-place finishes tonight, both dry, both wet, but by G, you had to work for race 2. Only getting to second in the early stages of the final lap, mate. Well done.
Yeah, no, thank you very much. I thought I might come in and see you wonderful people again. Haven't been in here since Brands Hatch when I had that stellar run last season, so I thought I'd jump in and give you the spiel of how I went tonight. And another good result for me. I'm happy with that. But yeah, it's very, very interesting, that Corvette. I've jumped in it for this season and I'm quite enjoying it. I was in the Ferrari last season and that. So yeah, went into the vet this season, and yeah, really enjoying it.
It's interesting because so many people, swerved in the direction of the McLaren, didn't they? So many people stayed true to where they were if they didn't want to go for the McLaren. We know a few people that just preferred to go with what they were comfortable with. But you've gone completely polar opposite of anybody. You've gone from Ferrari to Corvette, a car that wasn't to everyone's liking last term. Matty Dench certainly was able to make it work for him, but that's Denchy. I mean, he's in a different postcode compared to most people. So talk me through what, forced your hand there with regards to making the choice to go from the Ferrari to the Corvette and what you're enjoying about that car so far, mate.
It all goes down to a teammate, Sean Benici. He ran it last season and had some really good results in it. And he was probably faster than me throughout the season last season. And considering it was the newer car, other than the McLaren, but I was just like, I'll give it a go, and purchased it for this league, and jumped in it. It was like, I'll give it a go and see what happens. And well, I mean, it's working out well for me so far.
Indeed. I mean, the results so far this season, winning round 1, 2 seconds tonight, but I think you've done enough to get the round on points. 10th last week, 4th the week before, the only blip in the road being Catalunya thus far. What stood out for you? Compare this car to the Ferrari for me, and what you're liking about this car, and what you're not liking necessarily.
In the wet, the Corvette seems a little bit more slippery, but in the same term, you can stomp on the brakes, and if you do hit a puddle, it slides. It doesn't try and spit you out the side and destroy your race sort of thing. Whereas in the Ferrari, especially in Brands, when I had that good run, I was finding that when you'd hit that puddle, you'd skate everywhere. Whereas the Corvette seems to be a little bit more controlled when you do hit those puddles. But I don't know if it might be that new GT3 update that they did on the build. But yeah, it was slippery, but I think everyone struggled with how slippery it was out there. But yeah.
All right, mate. Hey, talk us through what's on your racing schedule for the rest of this week, and then we'll get to Montreal in a moment. Oh, hang on, actually. There's your only moment of the night, really. Thankfully, it didn't cost you all that much because Benny Lavender was in a completely different postcode, but it did cost you some track position. You had to overcome that, didn't you?
Yeah, I was finding that I was actually catching Benny at that stage, and I was finding a little bit of grip on the out, just going a little bit wider, and for some reason just that corner there just caught me out off guard and lost the rear, and that really put me back, and decided I'll pit a bit earlier than everybody else, and that put me into a bit of traffic. So the end of the race didn't go too well, but I think if I didn't make that mistake, I think I could have been pretty much on Benny's rear bumper, possibly. I mean, it's hard to say now, but at that stage I did feel like I was catching him. But I mean, the way that the race ended, it wouldn't have happened if I didn't make that spin. So,
all right, fair call. Talk me through the rest of your racing schedule for this week, please.
I keep meaning to get into the Wednesday night Super 3s for the V8s, but I just I get home real late on a Wednesday and just can't find the energy to jump in it. But I've dedicated GT3s until I can find a bit of time otherwise. So if I don't get into the V8s on the Wednesday, I'll be back here for the GT3s on the Monday.
I was going to say, it only just dawned on me. We've got 9 manufacturers in GT3 now. We've had 5 in GT4 for a while. We know there's more manufacturers steering the direction of that caper. How long until iRacing jump on that and expand their GT4 portfolio? And also, I guess, not so much from a an American or an Australian standpoint, where, I mean, especially here, it's on the ropes, but from a global standpoint with the World TCR series, how long until they jump on that and add a few more manufacturers as well? We're always looking for content. We're always looking for improvement and the next evolution, the next step, the next progression. So there's a couple of ideas in the direction of iRacing. We're usually good for them here on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. Gavin, talk me through next Monday night, Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, and how you might attack that.
Yeah, like Interlagos, it's not a track that I particularly enjoy, which is kind of funny with the good results I've had tonight. But I actually try and steer clear of Interlagos. Montreal, another one of those ones that I try and stick clear of. But with how I'm running in this championship, I've just got to get out there and try and have a bit of a, try and get those bonus points from the incidents, and because I'm not the fastest out there, I know that, but I've been lucky enough to be up the front and keeping with the guys up the front, which is helping me a little bit. But yeah, so next week's going to be interesting. Rain, dry, doesn't really matter to me at the moment. Let's just see what happens and see how I go throughout the night.
At the end of the day, everybody's in the same boat, and you've all got to drive the conditions to get to the checkered flag. Well done, mate. Thanks for stopping by. Thanks for waiting around for us as well, because it's been a slightly longer than usual post-race show tonight. We do appreciate it. Good luck for the rest of the week. Go well.
No worries. I just want to thank Frogleap, Juiced Racing and Juiced Energy, Studhall, Good Speed and Racecraft and all them good lads over there.
Yep, we wouldn't be here without our sponsors, be they club broadcasts, commentators, or drivers and teams alike. Well done, mate. Nice tip of the hat to them. And we look forward to catching up with Gavin Simpson again next week. Thanks for stopping back on by the post-race show. You're welcome anytime. Let's press on, though, because we are running out of time. Dave Oliver's dropped by, but I'm going to go to Greg Heaney first, because Dave Oliver dropped in last. You can't jump the queue like that when we've got one of the committee members in the house, G. Oliver. Hello to you, Greg Heaney. Good evening. Interesting night. Talk us through it from your standpoint. 13th and 11th, but not without a fair degree of drama and a fair share of challenges along the way.
Evening. Yeah, there's a puddle at the bottom of the hill, if anybody hadn't noticed, and it seems to be somewhat in the middle of the track, and I think I found it twice. No, look, good racing. I honestly had a decent race. Kept it clean for the most part. I know some of the other boys were not as fortunate as keeping it on the road. Watching through back some of the replays, obviously there was an incident for Scott where he went for an excursion off from the bottom of the track, and I know he had a couple of spins here and there throughout the race. I think Bobby and Tim might have got caught up in a couple of little things as well. Well done to Lockie for finishing. I think he finished third in the end of that one, possibly fourth. I know he was up the top. I mean, look, I think I did about 40 laps of wet practice yesterday. In similar conditions to this, though I think there was maybe a little bit more water on the track tonight than what I was actually practicing in. So fine, just picking those lines and getting the brake markers right with all the spray is interesting at best. So
the wet weather's been diabolical of late. First GT4 last week, now GT3. What are your thoughts on what were your thoughts on how the McLaren performed dry to wet, and how you handled that transition as well? Because as we know, it was a mixture throughout. So I think the boys said something about having a wet weather set up for qualifying there earlier. So that says to me that you might have had some wet practice followed by dry qual, dry race 1, and then wet race 2. Is that right?
Race practice was, you could almost say the track was probably closer to underwater than wet. Quali was dry, race 1 was dry, and then race 2 was as seen. So but no, being that I'd done as I said, about 40 odd laps of practice in the wet, I already had an idea of how the car was potentially going to handle. I think my main issue was, being that I practiced practically solo, chase down, the red mist descends, and you kind of try to overdrive it too much, which doesn't end well.
No, it doesn't. And I have to ask you, across the other two splits, I mean, Lachlan, that was a magnificent performance from him. 10th, which gave him the invert pole. He gets third in that race. I mean, did well actually to gather her up and get to third, because there were a couple of hairy moments along the way. Couldn't hold off Simpson in the end, but did hold off Coates. The rest of your stable, your good self down there in 11th, Bobby Camo had a moment or two. In 17th, Timmy Watson smashed into the wall at one point. 19th, Scott Jordanson, who was here in the booth with us, but has departed. He was 21st, and that's about it for the Pro-Am split. But what about the other two, please?
Yeah, so in AM, we've still got Janesh Ragwani. He had a 4th and a 7th, so well done to him for that. He's improving. He's getting some little bits of coaching and some tips and tricks and so forth from Jackson, who's Jackson and Aiden are practicing for the next majors event in the GTP at the moment, so hence they're not on. But we had Dane and John in pro. I think they had a decent run, though I think they had a lot more rain than we did. Looking at the forecast that John showed me before we jumped in the servers, not sure entirely what happened, but it looked as if the race start times for the pro split actually overlapped each other.
Yeah.
So I think the race start time for the second race was actually overlapped to the start of the first race.
It was just a glitch with iRacing. I saw that when I showed the picture to Zach. So it just had the warm up and the race one flipped around on that graphic. So
that would explain why we were trying to figure out what was going on.
Yeah, where it said warm up was actually race one, and where it said race one was actually warm up.
Well, that makes sense. But yeah, we were looking at it. I was like, well, that doesn't seem quite right. And then looking at the weather, I think the guys in pro had a 56% chance of rain in race one, and then it got worse for race two. So all in all considered, just about everybody made it home tonight. So happy with that. And I mean, I'm happy to finish where I finished with not too many incident points. Obviously more than I would have liked, but these things happen. And yeah, we'll move on to next week to Montreal.
Thoughts on that before we talk about what else is on for the stable this week?
Personally, I hope it's dry, because the walls are just a touch too close for my liking in the wet, but we shall play it as it goes, and if it's wet, it's wet. If it's dry, it's dry. So I think if it's dry, it's probably going to be potentially very processional. As John said earlier, there's not a lot of places to overtake around that track. But if it's wet, I think it's probably going to be playing dodgem cars for the first few laps until people fall by the wayside or have incidents and just put it in the fence and get themselves unstuck, and you just manage to find a way past. So it'll, we'll just see what happens.
Indeed, we will. Yeah, very challenging conditions out there tonight. I don't think anyone will be disappointed if it's dry. Full stop from the outset to the conclusion in Montreal, Canada, next Monday night. Interesting, isn't it? Pressure cooker point of the season, because we know that the intensity lifts, but also the risks increase with the addition of, or the arrival of sprint racing, mate. And it's a hard-fought month coming up for the Pro Split boys. There'll be a few, and the Pro-Am and the Am right across the GT3 board. There'll be a few. Very happy to see the back of tonight. A few already falling back on the rest of the season and thinking, oh, geez, I've only got one drop round up my sleeve now. That was real difficult out there tonight, but it's difficult for the next 3 weeks, because that's the nature of sprint racing. But by gee, it's exciting.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. And unlike the radicals, which we've tweaked for Friday nights, it's not a full invert, which was rather hectic for the first couple of weeks. So it's only the top 10. So it certainly makes it very, very interesting for the pointy end of the grid in race one. Just everybody trying to get that coveted 10th place to get the pole for race two. So if you're in and around there, it gets very, very dicey. I mean, race one for tonight, I think I was running somewhere low to mid-teens, high teens, and around that area. And albeit it was mid-pack, it's like everybody was racing for sheep stations, and it was only race one.
Sounds about right. That sounds like the usual nature of the beast, because we know how coveted that invert pole is, and that top 10 sacred. So they do have to get the gloves out, the gloves on the elbows out, and get stuck into it, or otherwise, they've made a rod for their own back, and they're working from row 6 back into the top 10 right from the outset of race 2, because we've seen it so many times before, Greg, that hole shot that you get with that elevation from 10th on the grid to first is a free kick, and some have been able to take that and run with it and convert it accordingly.
Yeah, most definitely. And you get the option to hold everybody to a line just to screw with everybody's heads.
Yeah. I like it. In fact, I love it. What's on for the rest of the week, please?
Whole mix of everything, I think. So we've got SFLs tomorrow night, trucks on Wednesday, and then Porsches Thursday, and back for the Bowen-sponsored Radicals on Friday. So will be rather good. I've already turned some laps around Chicago, and those bumps and corners turn up very, very fast.
Indeed, they do. It's going to be good fun for the next couple of weeks. There's no doubt about that. I look forward to catching up with you Thursday night, and then again next Monday night, mate. Thanks for that.
No worries. Catch us around.
Indeed, there he is, Greg Heaney, with thanks to Whiskey Business Racing and Bowens as well. The post-race show for the WBR stable done and dusted. I could do with the whiskey at the moment. It's been a long few days. Dave Oliver, welcome in for you to finish things off. Hey, hard charger in that second race for the Waste Options GT3 Pro-Am.
Actually, breaking news is a penalty for Isaac behind David, which is they elevated Kurt up to steal that bonus point off him.
Oh, come on. Sting in the tail. There always is on a Monday night.
Seriously.
Yeah, exactly. I would have thought the same thing. Dave, good evening to you nonetheless, mate. Hey, talk me through your night, because it's been quite interesting. We had Downforce Legends from the outset, then into GT3. Talk us through it from your standpoint. I want to focus on race 2 in a moment, but not before you give us your take.
Firstly, Downforce Legends, it was rubbish. Unfortunately, didn't make it through turn 1. Got, went a little wide and got, racing incident / pit maneuvered, I don't know, we'll call it whatever. And ended up in the fence, so I ended up having to tow, and that was a ridiculous late for tow. It was like 2.5 minutes, so it puts you down 2 laps straight away. I was nearly going to pull the pin, but I'm like, I'll just keep on going, because go and finish, at least try, score a few points and stuff, or at least make it to that 75% mark. And in the end, a few other guys dropped out, so I gained a few spots. So it was good, I stuck it out. Quali, then I jumped into this. It was, as Greg said, it was wet as anything. Quali was dry, but it was spray, and some of the like JRT was saying it was 33% wet still. So I went out on wets, did a time. It was a second or two slower, and then went to slicks. And then by the time I got to that switch setup and all that kind of stuff, I missed out by about 20 seconds of actually getting a time in, which would have put me in the 10s. So unfortunately, I started right towards the back. Yep. Made up a sprint race, was as dry as Greg mentioned. Made up quite a few spots. Then unfortunately got turned around, and tried to make up to what I could, and then then the heavens opened up again for this race too, and somehow I think I had one off, but other than that, I managed to come through. I think it was 17 spots.
You did indeed, and 7th spot was the result of that. Interesting as well. part of your strategy. We normally see you run the tank empty, but you pitted early, and it paid dividends, mate. You were able to get some clear air and use it to your advantage, and then as others slipped and slid around you and fell through attrition or mistakes or bad strategy play, whatever the case may be, you were able to capitalise on that and work your way through. Talk me through how the McLaren handles the wet weather, because that was its first test tonight.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a weird track, this one, where it's like you try to do the wet line and then it just nearly spits you off. So you nearly kind of have to, like, I don't know, I could be completely wrong and the pro guys could, the quick guys could have a completely different method, but, it was a case of you kind of start to 3/4 commit to, the proper dry line, which was kind of annoying. But yeah, I ended up having a bit of a lose through that downhill left-hander, where Max, when he was in Toro Rosso days, had that massive big Tokyo drift moment. So it was a case of went off there, and then I'm like, I knew it was the pit window was open, and I'm like, stuff it, I'll come in. I knew I was going to come out in clear air. And then kind of, like you said, it did pay off. Because when I was in clear air and kind of got going, I was doing really decent lap times. Like I was matching the front guys. And, other guys slipping and sliding off and whatnot. But even then, like you'd come behind, you'd catch up to someone and instantly you're a second and a half, like a lap slower, just because of the spray. You're not wanting to, glide into them or anything like that with any, like, borderline moves. Like, because a lot of the time it's like the tighter corners where you would usually do it, they're the riskier corners. So it's, it was an interesting interesting race.
That it was. Obviously, not too much progress made in the first race, but all the inroads made in the second race there. How do you feel about the changeable conditions? I mean, we see them in real world motorsport all the time. Wet, dry. We had a bit of that in Western Australia this weekend, but you also had to withstand some pressure in the closing stages. Our audience is seeing that right now. Car slipping and sliding all over the place. But how do you feel about the changeable conditions? Do you like it in the sense that you're only in the sim rig, it's a couple of buttons that you have to push to fix it all up and make it ready for those conditions? Or would you like it to just be plain wet or plain dry?
I don't mind it. I don't mind it. It's just a case of that one. It's always the case where it's just like you'll go through a corner 4 times, and on the 5th lap, the car can just completely, you'll be slightly wider on a line kind of thing, and you'll be like borderline on a, wet line, dry line kind of thing, and then the car just completely reacts differently. So you're always on edge, waiting, in the back of your mind, you're like, this corner it's going to snap. No, it doesn't. Okay, next corner it's going to snap. So you're always just on that, that edge of, this could just snap out at any moment.
What's next on your real world agenda, and also what's next on your sim racing agenda, please?
I was potentially looking at, I recently did the big race up the mountain, which was fun.
Green, Lithgow and Orange, yep.
Yeah, did had fun up there, and was potentially looking at heading up to Surfers, but that's not going to happen. But I'll
Save yourself the hassle, mate. Watch it on TV. That way you don't have to wind the clock back 112 years.
Yeah, that and the crowds. So I'll probably I'll still help out in other digital ways to I'll potentially do some remote work, which will be good. And then nothing sim work. Probably might do the trucks and maybe the Porsches. See what happens.
There's a couple of things that I want to clear up here before I let D. Oliver go. We were mentioning about a few different things that are coming up this week. There's also an event coming up in Goulburn at One Raceway, or One Pablo Raceway as we are going to call it, coming up this weekend. And a press release landed in my inbox last week from one of the categories that are heading there this weekend, saying that they were going to help relaunch One Raceway. Sorry, mate, you already missed the gate on that. The Australian Superbikes did it a couple of weeks ago. They've been crapping on for months about being the first, national level race meeting to return to the venue, and they've been beaten by 3 weeks by the Supers, unless they don't classify that as Australian motorsport, but I do. So I'm sorry.
Yeah, they probably count it as 4 wheels, but
they need to clarify that. They need to say that, because the way they publish it and the way it reads is as though, the ASBK is not Australia, so pull your heads in as far as I'm concerned. But that'll be interesting. The high tech show on Saturday and Sunday over on SBS and Fox Sports. Interesting to see where Fox Sports put it, considering they've also got MotoGP and supercars to contend with, and of course a lot of other real world sporting commitments as well. Netball, rugby league, it's all happening this weekend. AFLW, so they're running out of channels already. Interesting. And of course New South Wales Motor Racing Championships are only down there in a week and a half or so, are they not?
No, that event has been cancelled, unfortunately. So
wow.
lack of entries. So now it'll.
Jesus.
Yeah, unfortunately.
That's a bit of breaking news.
Yeah. So yeah, that got canned end of last week. Unfortunately, so that puts a lot of pressure on, the New South Wales mob and other mobs that will be looking at running there to make sure that they.
Make it feasible and sustainable. Yeah.
Make sure there are enough competitors, and as you would have expected people to be, lining up.
In space.
To run there, and then unfortunately, there was, I think, one championship there it would have been a non-championship round, and I think they had 4 entries, and they usually have 30. So it was not great.
I might, because if I say anything online, I'm going to get in trouble. So I might have a chat with you off that about that offline as soon as we get off air here, which we'll do in just a moment. Nice to catch up with you, mate. Thank you for that. Well done tonight. Go well. We'll see you in this server, same time, same place next week.
No worries. Thanks, guys.
Fair income. When all the hoo-ha that was kicked up in the first place about that place closing down, for the reopening of it not to be met with the support of the New South Wales motor racing community, fair income. What more can you do? That's Monday Night Motorsport on the platforms of the GSRC, done and dusted. Night 1 of week 4 of term 4 for 2024, and it's done with thanks to Spreyton Cider, Waste Options, the great people at Orbic Australia, Bowens, the Builder's Choice. There they are. There we go. JJZ Constructions, merch.tgsrci.com, M-Wave Australia, and Flash Graphics. Do we have some updated championship points to run with Adam Lavis, please? In any way, shape or form? If not, then I'll just move on. Remembering that we're back with you Wednesday, Thursday and Friday night, ladies and gentlemen. There's a little bit of late breaking news there. I might be scratching on Thursday night yet. I've finally had someone come back to me with some correspondence regarding a potential trip down the south coast. I've got to make my mind up in the next 24 hours as to whether I want to commit to it or not. Matty Dench continues to lead the way despite that setback tonight. That'll be a drop round for Denchy. You watch. In Waste Options GT3 Pro 257 plays 212 for Richard Mitchum. The big story of the night is Daniel Benefield. 12th under DNF is a disastrous night for him. Our commentary colleague. It's still a McLaren 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 at the top end of the tree, but there has been a fair bit of moving and shaking going on there. Mark Gomez, a non-starter tonight, but still sits 4th on point standings. Shane Clancy's moved up to 5th. Lewis Greathead to 6th. Nick Wood slips to 7th. Oscar Glissett up to 8th. And Glenn Arnott back to 9th. Drew Hanstein is the sole BMW in the top 10. Connor Nixon wasn't on the grid tonight. In the second race, he DNF'd the first race. John Wright, the Ford, also flying the flag there. There's a Corvette and also a Lambo in the top 20 at the moment. But look at that. That is a depressing scene if you're a manufacturer that isn't McLaren, because the Papaya is 15 strong in the top 20 at the moment in Waste Options GT3 Pro. Let's have a look at Pro-Am. And Gavin Simpson continues to lead the way there by a sizable margin as well. Won the round tonight. It was a tie for bronze with Brad Coates and also, of course, Tim Fuge. Brad Coates is second in the championship, just ahead of our good mate Dave Oliver, and I'll talk to him in a moment. Off air, he's 17 points clear of Paul Wood, who's one clear of Tim Fuge. And then Isaac Curtis, Stephen Gallacher, Ben Goring, Ben Lavender, and Reese Dickerson make up the top 10. Curtin Normanton is 11th. And interesting to note there that there's 131 points already covering first and 10th in this championship. There are just 3 manufacturers in the top 10, 4 of which are Porsche, 5 of which are McLaren, and the 1 Corvette as well. Bit of a different story in GT3 AM. There it is. Warren Ibert continues to lead the way, 39 points the advantage over Mitchell Buckman. Tristan Koch is third, 134, 127 for our good mate Grant Gill. Great to catch up with him again. Dean Reddit puts Lambo in the top 5 with the round win tonight, 110 points. Janice Ragwani, Phil Butler, Dale Atkins, Martin Walker, and also Andrew Bailey make up the top 10 there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 McLarens and 5 other manufacturers in there for good measure as well. 6 of the top 10, Audi, Ferrari, Lambo, Porsche, BMW. Good stuff. So we're done. Let's have a look at what's coming your way. The platforms, the GSRC across Facebook, Twitch and YouTube as week 4 continues. Introductory Formula tomorrow night, Cadwell Park for Formula V. That's first up, 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, followed immediately by a 40-minute sprint around Kota. That's, there you go. Nick Fadiatis will be nowhere to be seen tomorrow night. He's second least favourite circuit on the server. For a 40-minute race, 9:15 Eastern Daylight Time, round 4 of Super Formula Light, the Wings and the Slicks. Orbic Australia Truck Series, Wednesday night, getting us underway from the Auto Club Speedway in California. Can I just say, I love California Speedway and its current guys. I can't believe that they're tearing it up and turning it from a 2-mile oval, or 2.5 mile oval, whatever it is, into a bloody short track. Like, what good's that going to do? Things like IndyCar and NASCAR. Like, seriously. I get it. There's a big appeal for short track, but not with me. There's not. I just don't. I don't get it. It seems like a lot of money for a step backwards. Thankfully, the old scale circuit can live on. The legacy of it can live on in the iRacing server. That's 7:45 Eastern Daylight Time, followed immediately by a trip to Mobility Resort Motegi, to the east configuration of the Japanese circuit for 2 sprint races of the Super 2 series. Remember, Wednesday night, that's at 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, of course, the main course. Remember, Sam Chapman will be here alongside Liam Banks with Wednesday Night Motorsport on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club across Facebook, Twitch and YouTube. So Coda's very relevant, considering that Formula 1 was just there this morning as far as tomorrow night is concerned. Thursday night, GSRC GT4, if I can spit it out. That'll take us to the Hockenheim Ring Sprint Racing there from 7:45 Eastern Daylight Time. Now, if I'm not in action, it'll be the All Daniel Show of Korea Sar and Benefield for you. I'll let everybody know as soon as I know what my movements are the rest of the week. The spanner's been thrown in the works in only the last 5 hours or so. Hockenheim Ring Sprint Racing, 7:45 Eastern Daylight Time. Not a bad one to miss, actually. Hockenheim's hit and miss as far as the racing is concerned. Porsche Cup, Barber Motorsport Park. This is the one that I would be very disappointed to be missing, but at the end of the day, you don't say no to catching up with friends when the opportunity presents itself, do you? Especially when I'm only down here in the Hunter Valley and in the New South Wales region, full stop. Only a handful of weeks each year. Porsche Cup, Barber Motorsport Park, 2 sprint races, 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. The numbers, the racing have been incredibly well supported, and the quality of the product has been utterly bloody superb so far this season. Long may that continue as far as the Spreyton side of Porsche Cup is concerned. Friday Night Motorsport, with thanks to Bowens, the builder's choice. It is, of course, Downforce Legends. We take you to the Chicago Street Circuit for 2 sprint races from 8:30 Eastern Daylight Time, 5:30 Western. The Xfinity Series NASCARs from Mount Panorama on Saturday night for mountain men, 8:30 Eastern Daylight Time, over 32 laps. And then next Monday night, we get back stuck into it once more I was a little bit jumping the gun tonight. That will be the last one of October as far as the LMP2 Challenge and the GT3 Series is concerned. Week 5 gets underway, takes us to the halfway point of the term. We started with the LMP2 Challenge. from the Red Bull Ring, 7:45 Eastern Daylight Time. And back that up with a trip to the circuit. Gilles Villeneuve in Montreal, Canada. Pro-Am Racing, Am Racing for you in the reverse order. Am split first up, Pro-Am second up. Next Monday night, 2 sprint races, 8:45 Eastern Daylight Saving Time. Merch.tgsrci.com for all your merch needs. Start getting your stocking stuffers sorted for Christmas, ladies and gentlemen. It'll be here before you know it. I can't believe I'm saying it. We're just over 2 months and 4 days out, or 2 months and 3 days out once we get to midnight Eastern Daylight Time tonight. We're too close for comfort for my liking to Christmas, but it is just around the corner. We're knocking on the doorstep of it, so make sure you get your merch sorted. Your stocking stuffers sorted, ready for that one. It's okay. It's 11:17 Eastern. I can get away with swearing, including the 9-letter C word that I usually refuse to use before December 1. Shirts, stubby coolers, stubby holders, jumpers, etc. You name it, the GSRC merch store has it. gsrcmerch.myshopify.com or merch.tgsrci.com for all of those needs. Show your support for the club that continues to entertain you 4 nights a week right throughout the course of the school year. And of course, we remind you as well that if you want to sign up and join in the fun and get involved with what we're all about, race.tgsrci.com is where you need to go. That's it from us. We are done. We sincerely hope that you've enjoyed it as much as we've enjoyed bringing it to you. Spreyton Cider LMP2, won by Liam Reston tonight. GC was clinical, wasn't he? And then, of course, I think I'm right in saying that we had 6 different winners across the board tonight in Waste Options GT3. Denton Mitchum, of course, in the top split. In the second split, it was, help me out here, Adam Lavis, because it was Grant Gill and Dean Reddit in the bottom split. In the second split here, of course, it was Tim Feud winning race 1, and race 2 winning was won by Benny Lavender. So, yes, 6 different winners across the board in GT3 tonight. That's an achievement in itself. Could also be a big contributor of that being the weather. That could be a big role or factor that's played a role in all of that. Could be a consequence of it, but nonetheless, you got to drive to the conditions, and they certainly did that tonight. They've entertained us right throughout the course of the evening. We've had fun. We hope you have as well. We sincerely hope that you've enjoyed it. Enjoy the rest of your week, everybody. October well and truly underway. Spring well and truly underway. We're in that glory patch of the year as the cricket is just around the corner. We're at the Spring Racing Carnival in full swing. Some great motorsport events as well. Rugby League still going on, so too the AFL. The A-Leagues are back. It's a wonderful time to be a sports fan. There's too much of it to sink your teeth into, but too much is never enough when it comes to sporting action and entertainment. On behalf of Adam Lavis and the entire GSRC broadcast commentary and production team here, we look forward to you coming again on Wednesday night, as that will be night 3 of week 4, which continues for you here in term 4 of 2024. We are racing towards the checkered flag on December 6th, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you're enjoying the ride and you'll continue to come along for it as season 19 for the club continues. Until then, enjoy the rest of your evening, everybody, and have a great week. Until we see you on Wednesday, I'm Zach Cape, and it's bye for now.